until 1998 that season. This is the first time since when we had two teams playing in the championship game for the first time. We've had one, obviously, along the way, but both teams are first-timers for the championship since we've been playing a title game at this level since 1998. You got to go all the way back to 2010 Auburn, Oregon.
Auburn, Oregon, okay.
Is the last time that we had two teams playing in the title game for the both. Either way, it's going to be a first-time winner.
Well, this has just been so SEC dominated, and we talked about that with Clad. I mean, he's actually the one that brought it up, how much the SEC has dominated this over the years. So it's hard to get a first-timer in there because it has rotated among so many SEC teams with Alabama and Georgia. And you, not in the SEC, but you throw Clemson in, they've played a lot because, if I'm not mistaken, Alabama is now the losingest college football playoff team of all time and the winningest college football playoff team of all time. I think 9 wins, 5 losses.
And they played the most amount of games. Tomorrow, part of the show will be setting up the SEC basketball season, which gets underway with conference play coming up on Saturday. And, of course, more football as the teams arrive in Houston for the national championship game coming up on Monday night. Glad to be home. Appreciate everybody, as I said at the end of the show yesterday, for the jobs they do year-round, but especially when we're on the road. And for you guys for supporting us with your numbers on all of our content. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We're back tomorrow, 9 a.m. Central Time. Until then, God bless you and God bless America.
Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live will share the latest interviews and videos from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and campuses all over the college landscape. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Live Daily Show. Jim, Lance, and Ryan will share their thoughts, and remember, you can always see the old shows on the Next Round Live YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, and don't forget to comment. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. It's Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
You've been wearing that thin, raggedy t-shirt for years now, and people cannot stop whispering and staring in your vicinity. We've all been there. Luckily, there's a solution to your lack of fashion and social cues. At NextRound.store, they have plenty of options when it comes to a variety of shirts and hats. Once you start putting that Next Round gear on, be prepared to make new lifelong friends and hundreds of unforgettable conversations. Hope you like random high fives in the street, because that's what you're getting after visiting nextround.store.
You want to look great while supporting your favorite show? You know the place to go is the official Next Round store at nextround.store. Yes, there are .store domains, and we have one. From shirts to hoodies to hats and all kinds of fun stuff, you can rep the Next Round anywhere you go. At the beach, Next Round hats to block out that sun. Up north in the winter, get you a comfy Next Round hoodie. Just need something to put your $20 beer in at a game? Get you a Next Round koozie and throw that thing in your pocket. You never know what stuff Jim's going to make me put in there next. Check it out. It's the Next Round store at nextround.store.
The Double Down Media podcast family is live and full of content for all ages. The Mystery Fifth Hour gives the Next Round host a chance to talk about everything but sports. Pour a glass of Bama and Bourbon, our weekly college football conversation, while sipping on some of the most interesting pours in the bourbon world. And in our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, LT takes off the gloves for in-depth conversations with stars like Taylor Hicks, presented by Redmont Vodka. Find these podcasts and more by searching The Next Round on Apple, Spotify, and on our website, nextroundlive.com.
The Next Round is so much more than the show you get from 9 to 1 each day. So make sure to head to our official YouTube channel at Next Round Live and subscribe to get all of our latest content. We, of course, have plenty of specialty content and shorts based all around the sports in the heart of the SEC. But we also talk pro sports, gambling, lifestyle and entertainment, and so much more. It's the Next Round YouTube channel, where you never know what you're going to find next. Subscribe now to see the latest content and get notifications when we go live. That's at Next Round Live on YouTube.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family, all at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, here we go now, live on a Friday. Our travel week is over with. The dream scenario would have been, it's our getaway day for Houston today.
Oh, God.
But Alabama
would kill me.
But Alabama came up a little short against Michigan. But the teams do arrive in Houston today. Michigan lands in Houston at 4:30 this afternoon, Houston time. Washington arrives at 8 o'clock Houston time tonight. They'll have their media day for the championship tomorrow at the George Bush Convention Center is where they'll do that. And then there is Jack Harlow in concert in the round tomorrow night at the media parking lot area.
Boy, I saw that on, was it Thanksgiving Day?
Yeah.
I saw enough.
So better known as parking lot noise to you?
Yeah.
Crank the cars, let them run.
I mean, give the kid success, or give him a lot of credit. He's had a lot of success, but I don't know. Just go watch the original Kings of Comedy and watch Steve Harvey do what is a rap show, what it sounds like. Because I've been to a few.
I've got a 1,000 things to get to today, but obviously in this day and age, it is about player movement in college football, the landings and the exits everywhere. We will get to the biggest news as far as a playoff contender is concerned, and that is Will Howard landing at Ohio State. When we were talking yesterday in the first segment while you were still in the sports book at Resort World in the doghouse, Ohio State was the third betting favorite for the national championship next year behind Georgia and Alabama. And we said, hey, they don't have a quarterback. Well, now they got a quarterback in Will Howard, and I go instantly, guys, improvement over the quarterback they had last year, yes or no?
A little bit, yes. He's got a bigger arm. He's obviously much more athletic. He can make plays with his legs. He's just not that accurate. I like Will Howard a lot. I told you guys when it looked like he was going to USC that he was a poor man's Caleb Williams.
I remember the 4 pours.
Yeah, look, this is an upgrade over Kyle McCord, but I mean, again, Will Howard, I thought he was good in Colin Klein's offense, that system for Kansas State on this stage. I know the receivers are going to be better. This isn't C.J. Stroud. This isn't Justin Fields.
But it feels like, to me, a better fit than USC. It feels like he fits in Ryan Day's offensive system better than he would Lincoln Riley's. And I think Lincoln Riley would have gotten good play at him because it's what Lincoln Riley does. He gets good play out of quarterbacks. But I just feel like it's a better fit in Ryan Day's system.
Yeah, I'm just going to assume what happens here is, one of the things that Will Howard said is I was going to kick myself in the ass if I didn't take this opportunity because I think I've got a chance at winning a national championship. I just don't think he felt that at USC.
Yeah, I think Ohio State's a safer bet, don't you?
Yeah. So, much more safe.
Yeah, I mean, Ohio State in a down year by some standards was in a game where all they got to do is win that game, and it was a tough win, but all they got to do is win that game, and they play for a college football playoff.
And they lost that game the year before, and we're still in the college.
Yeah,
playoff.
that's right. And one more point, I think Will Howard, I think it's ultra important, obviously, if he's going to make this move to be the starting quarterback in his final year. You watch Miller Moss, you watch Devin Brown. Miller Moss looked really good.
Yeah.
Devin Brown did not look good at all.
He was going to have to go beat out the 6-touchdown guy.
Yeah.
The Miller
that knows
Miracle.
the system inside and outside.
Yeah, absolutely there. On the flip side of that, we were going to do a segment on it yesterday, but you sort of put it into a Joel Klatt question. So while we're talking Ohio State here, from a podcast leading into the Cotton Bowl, Carson Hensman said several things that eventually had the podcast pulled down, but one of them was they don't pay a lot of NIL money, Brownie, at Ohio State until you prove yourself. That's what he's saying. And Ryan Day, not as intense in practices as Urban Meyer, he said so many things in this podcast on their big podcast.
11 Warriors.
11
he said
Warriors.
that the bowl preparation was basically walkthroughs, essentially. That basically instead of, the full get after it practices the way you would on a game week, that they basically just had 14 or 15 walkthroughs.
He said Urban Meyer's practices throughout the year were always like you would do mat drills 2 against 1. so much so that people would be passing out at times, and they'd be bringing them back to alertness with the ammonia breaks, the smelling salts. That's how Urban Meyer ran his program. Ryan Day's all touchy-feely.
Yeah, well, there's a reason Urban Meyer was winning these games and Ryan Day's not, right?
I mean, Urban Meyer is a better football coach. I don't know if this is the reason, but Urban Meyer is a better football coach. But
the thing that popped out
this part of it
for you and me was the NIL money, because Ohio State makes money.
Yeah, and he basically said, there are a lot of guys that just want the money in recruiting, and we're not going to recruit those types of guys. And I would say Ryan Day probably doesn't want him saying this out loud, which is why somebody convinced them to pull this podcast down, because I don't think Ryan Day wants to eliminate guys that are just in recruiting for the money. Both of these things can happen. You could want to maximize the money you get from NIL and recruiting and still be an amazing football player, right? Like, just because I'm trying to maximize in this one situation where I've actually got a little bit of leverage here in my life, I'm going to maximize the money I get, doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to be a bad football player, right? Those two things are not mutually exclusive. So I don't think you want it on the record that we're not interested in recruiting guys that just want to maximize the money they can get.
Now, I see in the chat room, Timmy P., the Ohio State is in a decline. Pritch Law, OSU dynasty is over. I got to disagree with this.
I don't think they had a dynasty, though.
Well, they didn't have a dynasty to begin with, but again, they're a missed field goal away from winning a national championship just last year.
Correct.
And this year, they lose a hard-fought game to Michigan, and they go to a bowl game. They weren't motivated.
Yeah,
I mean, they lost one game in the regular season.
Yeah, the bowl game I don't really care about.
To
I
a
don't
team
care
that's
about
probably going to win the national championship.
Yeah, I don't care about the bowl game to Missouri. I'm not going to worry about that. I just look at the fact that in a down year, and I keep putting air quotes around down for those that aren't watching, in a down year, much like Alabama, in a down year, who won the SEC and was in the college football semifinals, Ohio State in that same type of down year, again, was a play or two away from beating Michigan and playing for a national championship, perhaps. So, I mean, it's still a program that I think is in good shape. It is not where Urban Meyer had it, though. Ryan Day has not maintained where Urban Meyer had it. You can't deny that.
Health of the program, though, Michigan could win a national championship on Monday night. That's my pick to win it on Monday. But moving forward next year, Ohio State looks to be in a stronger position roster-wise than Michigan is next season.
Well, they probably were this season.
Yeah, I wouldn't bury Ohio State, the Ohio State University yet. Another big story to get to on a playoff contender, this one coming to the SEC. It involves 30-year-old Zak Alley, the defensive coordinator from Jacksonville State. Yes, that Jacksonville State. He spent 6 years.
The Jacksonville State University.
He spent 6 years with Brent Venables at Clemson. Then he came to coach with Rich Rod at Jack State for 2 seasons as a young defensive coordinator, 29 and 30 years old. He today is going to be named the new defensive coordinator at Oklahoma, and he's at age 30 from Jacksonville State after 2 good defensive years. He's going to rejoin with Brent Venables, who kicks Ted Roof to the curb at age 60.
Yeah, I mean, this is a meteoric rise to go from Jacksonville State to Oklahoma, from Jacksonville State to an SEC job. Now, he was really, really good. I mean, he's deserving of the consideration, but I just can't believe he's going that quick.
Student assistant, grad assistant to Jacksonville State as a defensive coordinator back to Oklahoma now to stay with Brent Venables.
Yeah.
There's a comfort. I mean, it's Brent Venables' defense, right? Brent Venables is going to call the defense. He wanted somebody in there who speaks the same language with him. This will be great for Zak Alley.
Yeah,
too.
look at the fact of the matter. I mean, Roof is one of these guys that has bounced around. He's been in the in college football forever. But Alley is half the age, 30 to 60. And I will say this about Roof: the defense was much improved under Venables this year. I mean, they went from giving up 30 points a game to giving up 23.5 points per game. I mean, it's more than a touchdown improvement.
Yeah, but when you got Brent Venables' reputation that he had his whole career, you expect it to be one of the best in the country. It's trending that way. It just seems like maybe Venables wanted his guy back, somebody that he's comfortable with. And I don't know if he and Ted had different opinions about things, but Venables is cleaning up the chain of command there.
Look, and the fact of the matter, it's easier for a 30-year-old to get out there and recruit than it is for a 60-year-old.
I
Good point.
don't know if this shows that their fan base is ready for the SEC or not, but I jokingly said on Twitter last night that it's a lateral move to go from Jack State to Oklahoma, but good luck to the guy. Wish him all the best.
Oh, did you get a little kickback on that?
You would not believe the Oklahoma fans and some of the stuff they've said to me. Like, I mean, I don't give a rip one way or the other. If you don't understand sarcasm, that's on you, not on me. And everybody's like, oh, Twitter needs a sarcasm front. I'm not fun. I'm like, no, let's don't reward the dummies by giving them a sarcasm fund. You got to understand sarcasm. But, I mean, the Oklahoma fans were pissed at me for suggesting, like anybody would suggest Jacksonville State to Oklahoma as a lateral move. I mean, like, nobody really believes that.
No, not at all. Not at all. The show being brought to you by Dr. B, LT's hair guy. This may be the first. I was about to call it date night, but I was the third wheel. The night we went out in Vegas, you and Maddie and me, you went hatless. Other than that, I've seen you in a hat more on this week than I ever have
Seriously?
before. Yeah, like you wore a hat. Like even
I need to go
night,
see our man Roney. I need to get this thing cut.
Yeah, because we didn't really go out in Los Angeles.
Nope.
It was just all work and dinner, and you had a hat on even at dinner every night.
I thought about when I jumped off the show yesterday, Klatt jumped on, and I thought about the last time he was on. He asked me how many times I hear last call. On that entire trip, I didn't hear it one time. Now, it's impossible to hear in Las Vegas.
Right.
I don't think there is a last
but
call.
But L.A., the after party started at 2 o'clock, but last call's at 1:30.
Yeah.
I don't think we came close to seeing last call.
No, I never. I don't know about you, Brown. I stuck Central Time in my head the entire time. I never really adjusted to Pacific Time.
I don't think we went to a bar in L.A. Is that possible? I went to that brewery at halftime of the Rose Bowl.
Everything was a restaurant. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right about that.
No, there were. I mean,
they had a bar in it, but it was more of a restaurant than a bar. It wasn't just a bar.
Maddie, who's from there, on New Year's Eve, which would have been the most likely night we would have gone out New Year's Eve. She's like, oh my goodness, no way.
Yeah.
It'll cost us $10,000 a head.
That
if we
was
go out in LA.
That was actually the least likely night I would go out.
Yeah.
Anyway, hat is on today. Sometime next week. Make sure we're hatless a couple of times. My hair has more than doubled in thickness since I went to see Dr. Beckenstein. He is the best in the business. I asked around when I started to thin out. Everyone said you need to go see Dr. B. For more than 20 years, women and men have turned to Dr. Beckenstein for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedures. He will use that experience, his advanced training, genetic testing to help his patients fully understand the procedures they are considering. Call Dr. B today, 205-319-0316. Tell him the next round sent you. For more information, you can always go online, t3hair.net.
Chase P, as an Auburn fan, finding out guys like Ted Roof and Scott Loeffler are still coaching D1 football is insane.
All the guys that have
Good morning, Chase. Welcome to Insanity.
All the guys that have come through Auburn and failed, and they're somewhere else still coaching. It's almost like the NFL where you got a job for life in the NFL.
Chris H., Oklahoma fans are sensitive. We have to ease them into the league. Paul says on Facebook, hello, Paul, Oklahoma was pretty good this year. Oklahoma will be better next season. They are improving. I don't know about their quarterback. They lose Dylan Gabriel to Oregon.
Yeah, the Jackson Arnold kid will be pretty good. But, that's going to be, for him to become a full-time starter, making a transition to the SEC, it's going to be obviously a big learning curve.
He obviously was their future. Now to the goings and comings here in the state of Alabama. Yesterday, you had a lot of exits that you expected, but let's go with the one guy returning. Deontay Lawson confirms he is on his way back. I'm back, says number 3-2 there in the middle. Hampered with a little ankle at points this season, especially in the game against Auburn, a little bit in the game against Georgia, and I don't know how healthy he was in this game the other night. Pass coverage from the linebackers at times were an issue, even in the loss. But this guy's a stud in the center, and he calls the plays. Good to have him back in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Deontay's one of these guys, if he can stay healthy. He was second in tackles this year for Alabama with 67. I thought he made some big plays in the Michigan game. If the tip pass, again, if Roman Wilson doesn't make an incredible extension and grabs that tip pass, Deontay Lawson, that's one of the bigger defensive plays in Alabama lore.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that.
Because that ball game's over with an interception.
There's no doubt about it. So coming back up the middle of that defense, you got to be pretty excited about it. Now you're going to have to replace both corners, but you've got some hope there, obviously.
I'll tell you, I'm not as. And you mark this and bring this back the time Alabama gives up 400 yards passing next year, and I'm complaining about the secondary. I feel really good about the young guys coming in. Like the Amos kid has done nothing.
Oh, he's really good.
Show me that he is going to be 100% a stud at one corner. and Caleb Downs back there.
Well, that's what I'm saying, up the middle, with Lawson and Malachi Moore and Caleb Downs.
Malachi Moore announcing yesterday he's coming back. We had not gotten to that yet, Brownie, but yes, Malachi Moore is coming back. Those are 3 studs to put back in that secondary.
Damani Jackson.
I know.
Yeah, that's what USC.
I think your back end of your defense is going to be just fine next year.
I'll be surprised if Damani Jackson doesn't start.
Yeah. So really, you think? You know him better than we do.
Yeah,
so he's
good
enough to start.
Damani Jackson will start. Yeah,
he's going to have to beat out some dudes to get there.
Oh, he will.
Though.
Yeah. But I think there's a reason he's coming to Alabama. I think there's a reason Bama went out and got him. I mean, he's long. He's 6'1".
Yeah,
he's got a wingspan.
And Brownie then Roydell's coming back, and I don't know what that says about the running back room. I mean, he's coming back for a 5th year. It's good to have him, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think it says you've got plenty of depth at the running back room. I mean, there were people yesterday saying Quinshon Judkins to Tuscaloosa. I don't think you would say no to a Quinshon Judkins, but I also don't think, you desperately are in need of a Quinshon Judkins.
Yeah, but I think anybody would take Quinshon. Quinshon, I've got a feeling leaving Ole Miss. We kind of talked about that, speculated. I think he's probably got a landing spot already.
Probably
a
so.
Deep conversation.
But let's save all that drama.
But wouldn't you
for the
think
next
that
segment.
Jam Miller and Justice Haynes are going to be 1 and 2?
That's where I'm looking here. Do you think we lose either one of those guys if you're a Bama fan?
I wouldn't think so, no.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have thought you'd lost Quinshon Judkins either. So, I mean, it's very unpredictable. I wouldn't think so, no. But and that was my point is, if you keep all those guys, I think your running back room is there. Is there a Blake Corum or a Quinshon Judkins in that room? Maybe not. Maybe so. You don't know yet. But I think your depth is really, really good. You got a lot of bodies you can run in there that are very good running backs.
I probably would have leaned Justice was leaving if he didn't get the significant carries he got against Michigan.
And I wonder if there was a little...
We saw it with Tua, right? I mean, look, that worked out. It paid off. Look, Justice played well.
To your point,
limited touches.
Rumor was Tua was on his way out the door, and he got into the national championship game, had the 2nd and 26, and stayed at Alabama. But if he had not gotten in the game, there was discussion of him leaving Alabama.
I think he was going,
at some point. Justice Haynes in there the other night looked really good. Jam has looked good at times this year. Roydell is coming back. And then those that left yesterday, no surprise here. We told you earlier in the day about Chris Braswell. Then Aboigbe hits the NFL route. And then the 2 corners, Kool-Aid and Terrion Arnold. I guess the only one, we knew Kool-Aid was gone. That was given from the beginning. I guess there was some discussion about a little hesitation for Terrion. Handled it like a pro post-game. Kept talking about, next year for this team, next year for this team. Then had his meeting with Nick Saban and then made the announcement to the NFL.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way he couldn't go. I know I guess the quote was unfinished business. A lot of people, the speculation was that means he's coming back. This is a guy that's projected right now as a top 15 guy. Once he gets to Indianapolis, his measurables are going to be through the roof. I think he will creep up. Not going to be surprised at all if he's the first cornerback off the board. You can't turn down that money. As much money as he can make in NIL, he's not going to make what he's going to make in a signing bonus.
I will tell you this. I do 3 NFL games a week with Daniel Jeremiah of the NFL Network over on Disrupt the Media. Same place you get all our videos. You can go watch those. We preview 3 different games a week, and I was talking to him before he went on. He's like, hey, by the way, I talked to your guy Terrion last night on the phone. I was like, oh, what'd you think? He goes, man, this guy. He goes, what a great personality. He goes, I've watched your guys' interviews, but he was the same way with me on the phone. And he was like, he is going to kill it in meetings. And he's like, he's already like climbing the board on his play and his film and his, what appear to be his measurables, just looking at his frame and what his speed could be. And he's like, after talking to him, I think he will destroy team meetings.
Yeah,
this guy will be a gem in the draft.
What's the weakness? The inconsistency before this season?
Maybe.
Yeah, his tape before this season, which is why he has to go out. Because if you come back another year and you have a season like you did, say, in 2021 or 2022.
Or if you have an Eli Ricks season.
That's right, where you're all of a sudden
disappear.
The scapegoat again or whatever, you lose that momentum. So good for Terrion. Glad to see him. Hate that he's going, but glad to see him moving forward. Dallas Turner, who told us seconds after losing in Pasadena that he was leaving, made the announcement again yesterday. We already knew that, Dallas. You told us.
Yes.
The confetti was still floating down in Pasadena when you told us no ifs, ands, or buts. So we knew that one. That's the opening segment. When we come back, we'll get into the Quinshon Judkins. It got a little personal last night on social media. We'll talk about that on the Ole Miss side and where Quinshon could end up and just how good he is for some team. That and a lot more college football, the big weekend in the NFL, and we'll start the SEC basketball play this weekend. Todd Ferman, our first guest at 10:25. Is that correct, Browning?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Todd Ferman at 10:25. Dan Orlovsky joins us at just after 11 o'clock to talk about the final regular season weekend of the NFL as we roll on here on the next round, being brought to you by our friends at MyBookie. MyBookie.ag.
I was just looking at MyBookie.ag to see what's going on that Dolphins-Bills line. It's moved around a little bit. You can play all the games this weekend right there at MyBookie.ag. Huge NFL weekend coming up. In Week 18, MyBookie.ag will give you that sign-on bonus. You sign on. They give you a special bonus that you could use right away there at MyBookie.ag. Win once with it. It is yours and yours forever. At MyBookie.ag, all the college basketball, the NBA, they've got that super contest, $10 entry could win up to $10,000 there at MyBookie.ag on the NFL games this weekend. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere at MyBookie.ag. Use code NEXTROUND when you sign on for that special sign-on bonus at MyBookie.ag. MyBookie.ag, code NEXTROUND. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag, code NEXTROUND.
Subscribe and set alerts at Disrupt the Media on YouTube.
This holiday season, give yourself the gift of peace of mind with a credit card from Legacy Credit Union. Why risk shopping with cash when you can enjoy the safety and convenience of shopping with their contactless credit card? With a Legacy credit card, you can enjoy incredible perks like rates as low as 8.9% APR, no annual fees, and no balance transfer fees. But that's not all. Earn fantastic rewards for travel and merchandise through Scoreboard Rewards. Apply online today at LegacyCreditUnion.com to make your holiday shopping not just safer, but smarter. APR and annual percentage rate. Certain restrictions may apply. Subject to approval. Federally insured by the NCUA. Hey, Ryan Brown here from the Next Round. Do you want to help pay for my kids' college and look great while you're doing it? You need to go to the Next Round store. Everything from hats to short sleeve and long sleeve t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, zip-up hoodies, and much more. And we're adding new things all the time. Why would you not want to see my kids get a great college education and look great out in the public while you're doing it? Get the gear we wear all the time on the show, and there's only one place to get it. NextRound.store. That's NextRound.store.
Make sure to start your day at nextroundlive.com. Get caught up on the latest podcasts and videos from the live daily show, plus specialty shows such as the Mystery Fifth Hour. You can also learn more about the whole staff at Double Down Media, find all of our social media feeds, see the latest videos from our YouTube channel and gaming channel, plus find other ways to consume the show like the Next Round mobile app, which you can download direct from the site via your iOS and Android device. Make nextroundlive.com your homepage and stay up to date with everything from us here at the Next Round.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap.
Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag. All the games, player props, great parlays, and all right there at MyBookie.ag, right at your fingertips. And right now, you can get a special sign-on bonus when you make your initial deposit by using code NEXTROUND. That's MyBookie.ag, code NEXTROUND for that special sign-on bonus. MyBookie.ag, code NEXTROUND. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Back with you on the Next Round. Guys, come on. We're not falling for the portal. You guys trying to throw fake news at us over in the chat room.
Yeah, and what would be the market for Arch Manning anyway?
A lot.
I guess.
Well,
how much have we seen him play? Malik Murphy, who we saw play, ends up going to Duke, who is obviously better than Arch.
I mean, there's the Fort Worth Star-Telegram writer. I don't know if he's a columnist or if he covers Texas, but he writes for the Fort Worth Star-Telegram basically saying Sark's got to move on from Quinn Ewers and go to Arch Manning.
Yeah, let's see how good Forrester is. Forrester, you used to have that old picture. We were going to use it yesterday maybe, or maybe it was a Wednesday we were going to use it. It was from their media days like we did in Pasadena. They did it in New Orleans from Saturday. And it's a real picture. You get basically 1 hour, and at the podium is Quinn Ewers, right, with no reporters around him.
Oh, I see that.
Yeah, looking over his
in the
shoulder.
corner is Arch Manning, surrounded by reporters. Now, how do you feel if you're Quinn Ewers?
Well, that's dumb. Let me just ask you guys this.
Like Jalen Milroe, I mean, it dwindled down to just a few cameras the other day at the end of Alabama, but there was always somebody talking to Jalen Milroe.
But I guarantee you, Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa looked this way at some point. In what game?
2018, it would have been Tua.
Yeah,
on the podium, and Jalen was off to the side,
or vice versa. Leading up to the 2017 game, it would have been Jalen on the podium and Tua off to the side.
Yeah,
the backup quarterback's always popular.
Okay, let's just say this. I know that Will Rogers has gone to Washington, but if you're a Washington fan, Penix has gone on to the NFL after this game on Monday night.
Yeah,
and you can have Quinn Ewers, or you can have Arch Manning if you're a Washington fan.
I would take Quinn Ewers. He's
wouldn't even hesitate.
Yep. Mac Engel is the columnist for the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. Big paper out there. The headline of the column: the Texas Longhorns now have a major problem at quarterback. His last name is Manning. And basically he goes on to say, it's time to move on from Quinn Ewers to go to Arch Manning.
I mean, how can you say that? I mean, you haven't seen the guy play. I assume he hasn't seen him play enough to do it. Maybe some coaches are telling him something. I mean, do you guys feel comfortable Arch Manning would be better than Quinn Ewers?
I don't, but here's the line. I'm 2 paragraphs deep into this. Here's the line from the columnist. It's hard to envision a scenario. Listen to this now. It's hard to envision a scenario where Quinn Ewers is the starting quarterback at Texas in 2024. And he's not a bad college quarterback.
No, he's not bad at all. Look,
it's hard to envision a scenario
when
where
Ewers is good. Ewers is great.
Yeah.
There's been some inconsistencies. He didn't play a full game this past Saturday, or past whenever it was. Was it Monday? Yeah, past Monday.
Yeah, he called this in this column. He called it a decent game. Is that the way you would describe Ewers?
Yeah,
against
probably.
Washington?
Got a little hot late. But Arch Manning's a guy that's thrown 5 passes the entire year. Sarkisian in year 3. This was I don't want to say pivotal. He wasn't going to lose his job, but Texas fans needed to see what they saw this year. So he was going to play his best. He felt like his second best in games he had to win was Malik Murphy.
Matt over here says Texas can realistically win the national title next year if Ewers comes back. It'd be foolish of Sark to push him out.
I would agree. I mean, you've got some guys that are on to the NFL now.
Yeah, they lose some NFL talent.
I mean, that's
well,
going to happen.
Like
Jonathan
everybody
Brooks,
does.
Byron Murphy are gone.
But I do think from a distance, Sark saw, and then he got involved in Tuscaloosa and probably saw some of this too. But or I guess I'm trying to remember the timing on all this. But from a distance, I guess saw, the problem Nick Saban had when he had an obviously more talented college quarterback on the sidelines. Now, you can argue who's been the better pro quarterback between Hurts and Tua. But in college, Tua was the more talented quarterback. I don't think anybody's going to argue that one.
And Sark was there for that because he definitely saw it with the 1 year where he had Bryce Young on the bench and Mac Jones in the game. That was, he probably knew Bryce Young was going to be an NFL guy at some point.
Yeah, but I mean, Mac Jones was destroying it. This is not what you had in 2017. I'm just saying he saw it from a distance. I'm not even saying he was involved, Jim.
Right.
I'm just saying he saw Nick Saban have to deal with a quarterback that had not necessarily done anything to get benched for. You're still winning games with him, but you got a guy backing him up that everyone in the program knew was a better quarterback. And at what point do you say, I'm a loyal guy and I want to send the message to my team that if you do things the right way and you play hard and you have a good attitude, you're rewarded with playing time? Or do I say, all of that's great, but I got a better player behind you that I think we can win more games playing him.
Marquell in the chat room, Forrester, pointing out he's correct. Arch didn't talk all season long.
Right.
Freshmen don't talk, so it's a rare opportunity to talk to them, just like it was for Brownie to sit down with Tommy Rees out at the Alabama Media Day. It's a rare chance to talk to coordinators, and that is something that keeps it really fresh on these bowl trips and postseason trips. Show being brought to you by our friends at Michelson Laser Vision. Tell us about Michelson.
Yeah, make the phone call that I made over 2 decades ago, 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. Tell her the Next Round sent you. They are going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation, 0 to lose, to find out if LASIK is right for you. I've got the 2015 vision, better than 2020. I've had it for more than 2 decades now. Make the phone call that changed my life, 205-969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business. For more information, michelsonlaservision.com.
I will say the second round of transfer portal makes it tricky for Sark if this is indeed the issue that this columnist will make it look like or other people make it look like. There may not be an issue at all. He may have had the communication with the Manning family and he knows where he stands with Arch. Wouldn't surprise me the way that family operates.
Yeah.
But if you've got spring football and that second transfer portal window opens and the Mannings look at it and like, I don't know that I'm going to get the shot I want or a shot I deserve because Ewers, Sark's going to be loyal to Ewers even though I think I've outplayed him. You never know.
Yeah, but I would be shocked if Ewers plays past next year. So, if you're the Manning family, if you think this kid's going to develop and be that good, you figure that he plays one more year. He's Texas's number 2 behind Ewers. So if there is another injury, and Ewers has shown over the first 2 years of being a starting quarterback for Sarkisian that he is injured and he's missed multiple games, that you're going to have an opportunity to play. And then in 2025, it's your team.
Before we go to John up in Huntsville, another John points out, John, up here in Ann Arbor, so many fans wanted to push out Brady in favor of Drew Henson, the number 1 player in the 98 class who was from the area. But they battled back and forth until the very end where Brady finally started his last 6 games in college. Before that, they split times. JD's up in Huntsville now. JD, welcome to the show. How you doing, man?
Hey, good morning. Happy New Year, guys. Glad you finally made it back from your journey. I haven't had a chance to really give you my thoughts about the Rose Bowl, but the biggest takeaway that I had was that Michigan just looked better prepared. They out-schemed Alabama. You just look, the very first time Alabama had the ball, they were pressuring, they were coming after, they're bringing 5, they're doing stunts, they're doing loops. Alabama didn't seem to know how to handle it. You look at the way they functioned, just look at Michigan's play at the 3-yard line at the end of the game to tie it, how great a call that was, and then look at Alabama's play at the 3-yard line that ended their season. And that's basically I put that on coaches, and it all goes back to and we don't want to blame Nick, but I mean they did a better job.
Yeah, I would agree Michigan was the better team. I just think this last play is going to get overblown. I don't think that was the play call. I don't think the play call was you take the snap and you run it right up the middle. I don't think so either. I think what I've heard, and maybe you guys heard this too, was that actually there was supposed to be an option to throw the ball out to Roydell because he had 2 blockers out there in front of him, and the linebacker really didn't make an effort to run with Roydell. No, I think they had leverage. I've seen a lot of smart football people say their opinion is that was an option on the play, that you had the pass option and the run option, and that on film it looks like the leverage read would have been to go to Roydell Williams, but the snap is low, which forced Milroe to not be able to make that split-second decision. Now he's got to run, and maybe he panicked a little bit. And a lot of people moving forward are going to point to Nick Saban saying in the postgame that was the play call. I personally believe that's Nick Saban protecting his players. Because if Nick Saban tells you what the play call is, then you either blame Seth McLaughlin for the bad snap or Milroe for panicking. And I think this is Saban realizing he and Tommy Rees are making millions of dollars. And when you make the millions of dollars, you take the blame. And that's my personal belief.
Yeah, I will tell you this, JD, before we move on, a bigger part of the game, Saban talking about it yesterday on the Pat McAfee show. Remember when no huddle, hurry up was a problem? He said Michigan huddling was the only huddle team we faced all year long. And because it was so different, our guys were slow reacting to their formations coming out of the huddle because they would break the huddle, get to the line. We were slow in getting a defensive call in and reacting, and they had us out-leveraged, out-schemed on some plays that we didn't react to.
And that was, JD, that was really big on that final series because timeout, and they just didn't have one more timeout when everything was changed.
And I just find it ironic, JD, that in his 17 years as a defensive brilliant mind, Nick Saban in Tuscaloosa, we've gone from seeing mostly huddles and a few hurry-ups, and the hurry-ups used to cause the problems, and now you get so many non-huddled teams that is the huddle that is now causing the problem.
It is ironic. Two more quick things. Right before the half, Alabama's got on the 25-yard line, they got a 3rd and 3. Michigan lines up. I don't know if you guys remember the Waterboy movie where they had the plays and they all went to one side because they knew they were going to run it to that side. It looked like Michigan basically loaded up on the one side. It's the play where our offensive lineman didn't block anybody. They just went around him. They left nobody on the other side. And I just thought, wow, that looked really weird how – and it was one of those things where you would like to have Milroe be able to look to the sideline and then go, nope, change that play because that ain't going to work. But we just didn't really have that option.
Or just not look to the sideline and be able to change the play like, they used to do it. Just, hey, I tell you what, we're going to change the play here. I've got enough power I can do that on my own here at the line of scrimmage.
He could have just not even said anything. He could have done it on his own where he just said, you know what, I see a gap, I'm taking it. I get these 3 yards. They get that first down, they score, go up 14-13 at the half. Different game.
Yep. Thank you, JD. A lot of times when a quarterback gets sacked 6 times, which Milroe did, you immediately blame the offensive line. But there are times that's on the quarterback. I mean, there are times listen, I don't know the plays that are called. I don't know the game as well, but I'm watching once from up in the press box, and I did talk to somebody after the game that said, I saw this right. They're showing pressure to Jalen Milroe's left. He's got the back standing to his right, and he doesn't move the back over. If you see the pressure coming from over there, you might want to move the back over so he can help you in that situation. He didn't do that. I mean, sometimes it's on the quarterbacks, not always on the offensive line.
That seems to be quarterback 101, by the way, is that you move the running back over to the side the pressure is coming from. That seems to be, a pretty normal call that you see every Saturday and Sunday.
And back to what JD said, look, I felt like Michigan was more prepared. They looked like they were Alabama was outcoached in the first half. But I thought the adjustments, and Alabama came out for the first, 20, 25 minutes the second half. I thought they made the adjustments, outcoached Michigan, and then in the final, 3-4 minutes, we all know what happened.
I agree with Evan here. Alabama was the hunter in Atlanta SEC championship. And when it got late and Georgia had closed the gap, what did Alabama do in that last possession? They came out, they had aggressive play calling. They were aggressive, trying to hold on the ball and finish Georgia, not giving them the ball back. In the last possession that led to a field goal, not a touchdown, Alabama very conservative on their play calling, not aggressive at all, almost played for the field goal instead of trying to end it with a touchdown. Different being the hunter or being in a position in that situation where you felt like you were in position to win the game.
Well, but I also do think at that point in the game, so it was 20-13, Michigan had not scored the whole second half.
Yeah, but this was the 17-13 drive that I was talking about where they ended up kicking the field goal.
Yeah, that made it 20-13. Yeah. My apologies. But, yeah, it was 17-13. So my point was going to be Michigan had not scored that entire half, whereas Georgia had momentum, or not necessarily momentum, but their offense was working. Michigan hadn't scored that whole half. So, I get what you're saying. You want to try to keep your foot on the pedal, but I'm also thinking my defense has not let them score the whole half. Going up 7 is massive here.
Well, let me tell you, if Milroe had not been sacked on that third down play that ended up being the field goal, or they lost yardage, I don't know if it was a sack or not, if that had been short of the first down, it would have been an interesting call for Nick Saban because you're already up 4. If it had been like 4th and 2, do you take the virtually automatic 3 to make it 20-13?
I think he would have.
Or do you go for it and –
I think you probably take the 3 just based on the fact that Michigan had done nothing offensively up until that point.
And my worst case scenario at that point is likely overtime.
Yeah, but to me,
Now, I still thought Harbaugh was going to go for 2.
Me too, yeah. It ended up being overtime.
Never thought that.
I did. I just thought he's just wacky enough and crazy enough to do it. And
3 yards is nothing to that offense usually.
The way it had performed on that final drive, it wasn't. Now, the rest of the half, it had been.
Yeah, there are a lot of NFL coaches, the way they do analytics now, 17-13.
I think if Harbaugh
instead
beats
of giving them the ball back
TCU
with 3 minutes
last year and plays for a national championship, I think it's a little easier to go for 2.
I'm talking about Nick going for the first down instead of kicking the field goal because, still got to have a touchdown to beat yourself, to get beat at that point. I don't know. It would have been interesting to see. It didn't happen. Played out 2013, then the 2020 tie, and Michigan wins it 27-20. JD always making us think about how things could have been in that game. Show being brought to you by our friends at Redmont Vodka, Redmont Distilling. Passed out a couple of bottles of Redmont in California where it's available, and the taste test came back positive.
Yes, great product. The weekend is here. Pick up a bottle at your local package or ABC stores, including the Beverage Place, Pink Package, Get NC Channel, the fine folks there. It's gluten-free. It's 8 times distilled, available in 22 states. If they don't have it, ask for it by name. It is Redmont Vodka.
And also by our friends at Storm Restoration Roofing. LT, when's the last time you had your roof inspected?
Oh, Dunaway, it's been quite a while.
Oh, if you can't say in the last 18 months, it's time for you to call our buddy Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing. I don't know if you know this, Lance. He'll give you a free, not just because you're Lance Taylor, not just because you work on the next round, just because anybody he'll do this for, a free no-cost roof inspection. All you have to do is call Greg up, 205-542-3531, 542-3531. If you're like Lance, you can't tell Greg when's the last time you had that roof inspected. You need somebody up there just to check out and see if there's any shingles that have been displaced that can cause leakage, anything that's come loose up there, all the connectors and everything. Get it checked out right now, 205-542-3531 for that free no-cost roof inspection. A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau. Insurance companies trust him. Locally owned. He and his wife own the company. It's Storm Restoration Roofing, or look him up on Facebook, Greg from Pell City.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
It's time to start thinking about employee holiday gifts. Consider getting your hardworking guys a pair of Red Wing boots. Each day, your employees are on the job site helping your company succeed, so reward them with comfort at its best. The Red Wing mobile shoe truck can visit your shop and fit your employees with a great selection of boots. Or Red Wing gift cards can be purchased at your local Red Wing store, available in all amounts. Whichever program you choose, your employees will appreciate the quality service and selection from Red Wing shoes, and they'll also be thankful they have such a great boss. Reward your employees this holiday season with Red Wing shoes.
Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag. All the games, player props, great parlays, and all right there at MyBookie.ag, right at your fingertips. And right now, you can get a special sign-on bonus when you make your initial deposit by using code NEXTROUND. That's MyBookie.ag, code NEXTROUND for that special sign-on bonus. MyBookie.ag, code NEXTROUND. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag.
The Double Down Media podcast family is live and full of content for all ages. The Mystery Fifth Hour gives the Next Round hosts a chance to talk about everything but sports. Pour a glass of Bama and bourbon, our weekly college football conversation, while sipping some of the most interesting pours in the bourbon world. And our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, presented by Redmont Vodka. LT has in-depth conversations with personalities like Clay Travis and Taylor Hicks. Find those podcasts and more by searching The Next Round on Apple and Spotify. And remember to like and subscribe.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
The Double Down Media podcast family is live and full of content for all ages. The Mystery Fifth Hour gives the Next Round host a chance to talk about everything but sports. Pour a glass of Bama and bourbon, our weekly college football conversation while sipping some of the most interesting pours in the bourbon world. And our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call. LT takes off the gloves for an in-depth conversation with stars like Taylor Hicks, presented by Redmont Vodka. Find those podcasts and more by searching The Next Round on Apple, Spotify, and on our website, nextroundlive.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late-night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
Little drama in Oxford. I know before we get to Quinshon Judkins and where he could be going and how he's leaving Ole Miss, when he left Ole Miss and all that, I'll ask you, you missed Odie's this past Wednesday night. You've done it for so long, you and Rockstar with the trivia. When you miss it, do you sort of like, on a Wednesday night, no matter where you are you like?
Oh, I stream in. I listen. I get Will to lay his cell phone down.
No, I would imagine
the way of trivia
on a Wednesday. No matter where you are on a Wednesday, if you're not at Odie's, you always feel like, God, I'm supposed to be somewhere, probably, right?
I didn't even think about it.
You did?
No.
Why don't you tell us about our friends at Odie's?
Rocky, what was the question on Wednesday?
Lee came up with a great question. Alabama played on Monday night. I don't know if y'all saw that. And she said Jalen Milroe was sacked how many times?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were not happy with the question.
Boo.
Did it get booed immediately?
Well, some people, I got some easy 5 points.
I'll tell you, Lee Haver is the Alabama version of Little T. I mean, she loves her some Alabama. Anyway, Odie's Team Trivia, we do it every Wednesday night. If you're looking for live music tonight and tomorrow night, both locations will have that. The original in Crestline, the newest location in Homewood, beautiful location there, right on the corner of Oxmoor and Broadway. Enjoy some great food from Rodney Davis, including on a cool weekend like this, some chili, grilled cheese and chili. You're going to absolutely love it. Stop in, go see Will Haver and that great staff. 2 locations, Crestline and Homewood. It's Odie's Tavern.
Quinshon Judkins announces he leaves Ole Miss in the portal. During the day yesterday, Lane Kiffin had a picture of a fish that he was letting off the hook. Here's
catch
the Quinshon
release
announcement, and then yes, Brownie, the catch and release there from Lane Kiffin, and then that gets us to Jackson Dart on Instagram last night, who sends this out, and everyone later deleted sends this out, and everyone says, "Oh, Jackson calling Quinshon selfish." Here's what Jackson sent out last night.
He was always like, "Man, if you're about yourself, you may be amazing. I would love to compete against you. Go play for the other team." Because when you're around a bunch of selfish people, and I've been around those,
Yeah, so that's what Dart sent out. Brown and I talked about it a little bit yesterday. What was your initial thought when you saw Quinshon was hitting the portal?
I mean, I was surprised. We touched on it a little bit when I was on with you guys that, pure speculation, it could be a situation where some of these guys that are coming in from the portal are maybe getting more money, or he could just be a bad locker room guy. I would assume it's the latter, because if you're a head coach, now it's Lane Kiffin, he does a lot of immature things as a head coach, but if you're Jackson Dart and you're going to completely I know he left the program, but you have thrown him under the bus now, basically saying he's a selfish player. So there has to be maybe something to that.
I mean,
if I'm Lane Kiffin, I'll leave it alone, though.
Rockstar used to call it vague book. Is that what you call it, Rockstar?
Vague booking.
Vague booking.
Yeah.
So the definition of vague booking is like I post on there, need prayers immediately, and you're like super vague about it. Everybody's like, so are you dying? Is somebody around you dying?
I can't
are
believe
you hungry?
You did this. You know who you are.
Yeah. That's vague booking, right? And it's dangerous to make assumptions based on vague booking. And that was a little vague, right? There was no description with it. He just shared that video?
That was the whole post right there. Just a video, no words or anything.
But I would say that I think is a fairly old video. I don't think that was.
Oh, it's been around. I mean, just tell whether Brady looks.
Yeah, I know. I don't think Tom Brady said that yesterday. And Jackson Dart's like, hey, Tom Brady's right. I'm going to share this with my teammates. So it seems like you had to dig to find that one. So even though there is some vague to it, you can start piecing it together and think, boy, the timing on that is very, very odd.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I kind of thought yesterday this looked like Ole Miss has brought a lot of guys in out of the portal. And I want to see kind of where I stand in the pecking order here. And I've gone and I've told them where I think I stand, and they're like, we don't think you stand there. So, all right, let's envision life without me here then and see where I stand in the NIL world when you have to envision life without me here. But it looks like it's going much further than that now.
Our buddy Neil McCready was reporting yesterday in his show that he had become a little bit of a tough handle for the coaches. He's a running back who wanted to be a big part of the offensive game plan every week, and he was. Lane Kiffin loves to run the football, but you got to let the coaches coach, and you got to play the game. That's how it all works. You can't have 85 coaches.
Well, and here's the thing: if you really want to become a team that's competing for championships, where Lane Kiffin and the staff they want to get, and where they look like they're heading right now, you got to have a good culture. And if he is creating problems behind the scenes, then you can kind of understand this. I will also say the running back position has become a lot more expendable. Did anybody know who Ollie Gordon was before this season?
Nope.
Or Cody Schrader from Missouri? Or Kyron Williams right now for the Rams?
Well, that's what Alex Scarborough, he had a quote yesterday in his story about Judkins from Lane Kiffin back in the summer. And it was about NIL, and he was like, I wonder how long it will take college and the NIL to catch up to what the NFL perceives the market to be for running backs. And he says it's more valuable to us because we run the ball more than a lot of people do in college. But he was basically saying the same thing that you're saying, that the running back market in the NFL translates down to the running back market NIL-wise in college football. A little bit more valuable in college football, the great running back, but that it shouldn't be as valuable as a great receiver or a great quarterback.
Yeah, I think you can still – look, nobody knew who Ollie Gordon was. Isaiah Pacheco, everybody thought Clyde Edwards-Helaire was going to be the future for Kansas City. Pacheco, a guy from Rutgers, ends up being the guy. So, I don't know. It's just seems like that is a very expendable position now.
I want to go back to something you said. I don't know if you were speculating or if Neil reported this, that the usage might have been like, I want to be a bigger part of the game plan. What do you think the difference in carries between his freshman year and his sophomore year was?
I would put them almost exactly the same.
Yeah, I would say probably 25 less carries. I mean, he had basically the same amount of touchdowns, 16 and 15. The rushing yards were down a little bit, but he was still second in the conference.
I would say, in fact, he probably had a few more carries this year because he sort of eased into that star role last year.
Well, I think he missed a little time. I think it was like 25 less
carries. It was actually more last year, but only by 3, 274 to 271. So I don't think usage could have been much of an issue. I mean, you got the basic identical usage you had. Now, if you wanted more, like Lance said, though, he wasn't always available this year.
That's right.
And
I didn't think he had as good a year. I know the numbers ended up being the same.
Pretty close.
They just didn't seem to be as impactful.
I kind of agree with you. Yeah. It seemed like his, to your point, impactful. His numbers meant more last year. I don't know how many coaches he's going to find that have a more dedicated run game than Lane Kiffin. And, I mean, if it is about usage, I don't know who's going to use you more than Lane Kiffin.
Hugh runs the ball a lot. Not as much as Lane Kiffin.
Not as much as Lane.
Hugh Freeze runs the ball a lot.
I would like to know what the most carries a Hugh Freeze running back's ever had in a season. I don't know the answer to that. But I'd like to know what it is. I bet you it's not more than what. Well, I mean, first of all, Lane Kiffin.
Just pick out his best year at Ole Miss.
All right. What year do you think that was? 15?
14 or 15, right? Or 15 to 16, whatever the next to last year was.
Yeah, I would say it was 14.
Okay, you want me to go 14 then? In 2014, Ole Miss's leading rusher was, I can't even find it. This should answer your question right here. I think. Oh, my gosh. They don't have – here it is. Jalen Walton had 106 carries.
Yeah. So was that 14?
That was 14.
Do 15. But you're right. Now that I think about those two Ole Miss teams.
He couldn't run the ball consistently.
Yeah, that was their problem. They couldn't.
Yeah, especially short yardage.
Short yardage, they were using Kindici. That's how bad they were running the football.
And remember, it was a short yardage situation that cost them that game against Arkansas. Eventually gave Arkansas the ball back, and that great play.
In 15, Jalen Walton led them with 142 carries.
I mean, it's not even close.
And what did Quinshon have this year?
271.
Yeah. So it's a few more games of carries.
And what was it Bo Scarborough or Derrick Henry that had all the carries under Kiffin?
No, it's Derrick Henry, 395.
Yeah, that's
395 carries. Yeah. And now I will say this year, Jarquez Hunter led Auburn. Now, he did not play a full season either, but he led Auburn with 159 carries.
Yeah,
that's a little bit more.
Derrick Henry's carries under Lane Kiffin is why if you ever see a Daniel Moore painting of Jake Coker, it's going to be from this angle.
Just the old handoff.
And you've told Coker that, right?
I have. He busts my balls on their show.
I heard Mick told me that they had a nice Jimmy D segment.
Yeah, so I just wanted to give it back to you.
Yeah.
Does this look familiar, Coker?
Malik Willis, I think in the entire time he was at Liberty, Malik Willis had the most carries in a single season, if I'm right about this, at 197. So, Hugh is going to throw the ball more than Lane Kiffin is normally.
Where does he end up? Yeah, give me 3 landing spots off the top of your head. Does Auburn make your top 3?
Everybody's going to point at Auburn because of the proximity of Pike Road and
I would put it in the top 3, though.
The fact that the appearance always was Brian Harsin fumbled the recruiting, which allowed Lane Kiffin in the door.
Yep.
And now you've got Hugh Freeze there, and it's a complete reset. I would say, and I'm going to be careful how I say this. I would say I would like to know what his relationship was with Carnell Williams, and what a factor that would be moving forward.
Why do you say that about Carnell
I
Williams?
said what I said. I said I would like to know what his relationship is with Carnell Williams and how that would factor into his recruiting to Auburn if he wanted to come to Auburn.
Okay, so you're vague.
I'm not vague booking. I'm just saying I'm making a very.
There's a reason you pulled Carnell out.
If Carnell was on the previous staff is one reason I pull him out.
If you believe you can, if there is a problem that is in the locker room with Quinshon, if you're a guy like Kirby Smart, do you take a look? I mean, Milton and Edwards are gone.
Well, they did get ETN from Florida, so Florida's got an opening.
I
mentioned Georgia last night too because I would take Judkins over ETN.
I would too. I think ETN is really good too.
I'd like to have both, and Georgia could afford both.
Well, and you can see, that could be one of the selling points. Hey, we'll give you more NIL money. You've got a chance to win a national championship, and we're going to split your carries up.
Yeah. Florida's got an opening, right?
Yep.
This is just in the SEC. LSU has a long history of great running backs. He would be their best running back.
Well, here's the thing I would question. If you're Quinshon, if you don't go to a contender, it really does look like a money grab. Because, I would say right now, if you polled 50 college football
if he ends
insiders, wouldn't you say half would put Ole Miss in the college football playoff next year?
Yeah, and he's a big reason why.
Colorado says Gary. Now, Colorado's always going to be a big name out there. Doesn't seem like an offense that would highlight me as a running back, but
not to the level you were highlighted under Lane Kiffin.
Michigan's going to have a lot of openings. If you want to get outside the SEC,
that'd be a heck of to go from Blake Corum to Quinshon Judkins would be a pretty good.
That's a different culture altogether.
It is, but if you tell me that Harbaugh is staying there and they're still going to play, or with Sharon Moore, they're still going to play that type of offense, I'd look pretty good in the old maize and blue. If you want to be an Alabama boy leaving the SEC and going to the Big Ten.
You cannot argue their dedication to running the football.
Right.
They played one game in the conference this year where they ran every play of the second half.
And Ohio State runs the ball pretty good.
Yeah. Travion's back, though.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He would split time at best with Travion Henderson, right?
We'll see where Quinshon, maybe as early as today, we'll find out that destination because I agree with what Lance says. You don't make this move when you make it without having a place already slotted for you. Not like it's free agency, right?
Right.
He's making that move. And on Jake Coker, I will say, and I told him this too, he was fantastic. In fact, we got a ranking of best and worst of the college football playoff era. Jake Coker responsible for the worst college football playoff game in its 4-team history because he played so well as quarterback against Michigan State, 38-0.
Oh, okay.
That was the worst game of the 4-team college football playoff era. Alabama dominated Michigan State 38-0, and Coker threw the ball early in that one, and then they ran it down their throats.
You say that was the worst.
Eyes.
I know Oklahoma scored a couple of points, but 2019, what LSU did to Oklahoma.
It was a pretty bad beatdown.
Yeah, that's in the conversation, too. So Coker knows I'm joking there. He's a national champion. Doesn't get enough credit for that. Top of the hour, Todd Ferman, part of the next segment. Not at 10, though, right? 10:25 with Ferman coming up. So he'll slide one segment later. When we come back, we will set the table a little bit with what's still to come in college football. Some more portal guys out there, not just Quinshon Judkins, a few other guys who are about to make the destination, the trip to a new school. And then the national championship game on Monday night. It's only the 4th time this has happened. We'll set the details on what is happening Monday in Houston on the show that's being brought to you today in part by our friends right there at Hemp Hill Services. Tell us about Hemp Hill, LT.
205-229-2090. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Make sure that unit is keeping up with the changing weather. $69 tune-up right now. It's hard to stop a train. Trust the name. Birmingham's trusted since 1954. Hemp Hill Services for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
You can't ignore the elephant in the room. Watch it at Roll Tide Pods on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag. All the games, player props, great parlays, and all right there at MyBookie.ag, right at your fingertips. And right now, you can get a special sign-on bonus when you make your initial deposit by using code NEXTROUND. That's MyBookie.ag, code NEXTROUND for that special sign-on bonus. MyBookie.ag, code NEXTROUND. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag. When it comes to great clothing, I love comfortable clothing that I can also wear to the golf course or anywhere I go. I get that from Rhoback. Ryan Brown here for the Next Round. Whether it is the softest hoodies you'll ever find, they're great quarter zips, the polos, the pants, the crew necks, you can get them all at Rhoback.com, and we're helping you save. Your first order at Rhoback.com can get a 20% discount when you use code TNR20. That is Rhoback.com, code TNR20 for 20% off your initial order at Rhoback.com.
The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali.
Are you ready to make this holiday season one to remember? Legacy Credit Union is here to make your dreams come true with their lifestyle loans. Whether you need a little extra cash for gifts or you want to take that unforgettable holiday vacation, Legacy has the right loan for you. With affordable monthly payments, flexible terms, and absolutely no collateral required, Legacy Credit Union is your trusted partner for your stress-free holiday season. Apply in minutes. Go to LegacyCreditUnion.com to get the financial support you need to enjoy the holidays to the fullest. Again, LegacyCreditUnion.com.
Some restrictions apply. See credit union for details. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Want more of The Next Round? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast. The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, another hour on the show here. Glad to have LT back from Los Angeles. We just saw in the commercial break, if you're watching on all our video platforms here, I mean, it's pretty odd. Out of 280 people, you're the first person they pull out of the crowd in an interactive thing.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty weird, interesting. It was one of those things I really didn't want to get up.
Right.
What do you do in that situation, though? Because you are going to be a mark all night if you don't play along, right?
That's right.
Oh, yeah. You don't play along. You're the butt of every joke.
And we were at a Cirque du Soleil show called Mad Apples, and we were in row 2. I didn't know it was going to be so interactive, so I was nervous the entire time that either the comedian was going to make fun of me being old or I was going to get called up to do something. And I was just uneasy all night long. But it was a great time, great trip. We had a good time. And
I learned this. I haven't been out on Vegas on Wednesday nights a lot, but it seems like Wednesday night is kind of the dark night for shows out there.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I mean, they can't
I know they can't perform 7 days a week.
Well, in fact, when I was in line buying our tickets, you had moved on. You had to run to the restroom, so I was getting your receipt and paying for my ticket. There was another gentleman who came up to the register beside me trying to buy tickets for the next day, and Wednesday and Thursday, they're dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to go to a show Wednesday night,
Yeah.
and there really wasn't anything out there.
Yeah. So I guess that's their days off. Hey, our friends at Precision Sports Medicine and Orthopedics want to remind you that 2024 is a new year, and they've got new ways to help you out. Remember, the number is 205-512-3885, 512-3885, and the website is precisionsportsortho.com/2024. precisionsportsortho.com/2024. Did you tweak your shoulder putting up the Christmas decorations, injure your elbow, shooting hoops in the backyard? Whatever you have, pains in the knee, back from sitting on the couch, they can take care of you this year. Precision Sports Medicine and Orthopedics gets your life back on track. Orthopedic care is better together. Find your provider today. Again, that number 205-512-3885 or visit precisionsportsortho.com/2024. Okay, Quinshon Judkins is out there. That's a big get. Brownie will let me know as he's on top of all the breaking news if he makes a destination choice in a second. Evan Stewart, best of my knowledge, still out there, correct?
Yeah,
I have not seen him commit anywhere.
So Evan Stewart, a top-end receiver, still out there. Nick Scorton from Purdue did get picked up by Texas A&M. Led the nation in sacks, had 10 sacks for Purdue last year. He's going to Texas A&M.
Well, look, you leave a guy like Ryan Walters, who was trying to build in first year, and Purdue, based on what they're doing to the portal right now, should be much better in year two. But now you're going to Mike Elko, and a guy that is viewed as one of the best defensive minds in college football right now, and you're going to a much bigger stage in Texas A&M.
And Caden Salter from Liberty is now the third best available player according to the Athletics, still out in the portal.
Do they have him in front of Malachi Nelson?
They do, by 5 spots.
Wow.
A better quarterback. Malachi is now the second quarterback out there.
Hey, let me ask you guys. So Malachi Nelson was number 1 coming out. He only appeared in one game this year for USC. Now, obviously, much like Arch Manning, was the number 3 guy. But would you rather take a flyer on somebody that was recruited by everybody that hasn't played, or Caden Salter, a guy that has got a ton of experience?
Well, I don't know. Because, my only fear about that experience is the level at which it occurred, right?
Who Liberty plays.
Yeah, well, he's playing at Liberty, which is not necessarily a killer. I'm just saying, if he had put those numbers up at Florida, he's probably not in the transfer portal, first of all, but if he was, I'm like, okay, he's done that against high-level competition. If he puts those numbers up at Purdue, I'm like, all right, he's at Purdue. He's playing probably against better teams in a good conference. I trust that. But at Liberty, I just do not know.
Charles says, I thought I saw where Evan Stewart was visiting Arkansas yesterday. Michael thinks he ends up at Arkansas.
He's visiting Oregon right now. So he's at Oregon today. So he's on a tour right now, Evan Stewart.
Can you imagine the swag you get when you go to Oregon?
Oh, my gosh. Like, I got to think. These visits to these campuses, they roll out the red carpet. There's no telling.
You remember there was
like.
back in the day when you had 5 visits, official visits, and most people didn't even take the 5. They couldn't even print your name on a jersey.
That's right. You couldn't even wear the jersey, I think.
It was so regulated. Now they put on an entire uniform and send photos out with it.
So Monday night, it'll only be the 4th time in the college football playoff from 2014 to right now where you have number 1 versus number 2 in the championship game. There's usually been an upset along the way. So number 1, number 2 for only the 4th time. The other 3 times was always Alabama and Clemson. In 15, Alabama was number 2, and they beat number 1 Clemson. In 16 and 18, Clemson was number 2, and they beat Alabama. Number 1 has never beaten number 2 in the national championship game.
Yeah, I'm going to say I'm not going to say this will never happen again, but we do have 2 undefeateds here. So somebody is going to finish this thing out at 15-0. Now that we move to a 12-team playoff, teams are going to play more out-of-conference games and not worry as much about a second loss.
Yeah.
How difficult is it going to be to get an undefeated after this year?
You're going to be far less likely to have 2 undefeateds, probably even 1 undefeated after this year. You're just going to be far less likely to have it. You're playing better games in theory. I mean, it appears most schools are scheduling up. I think the SEC in particular is going to expand conference play, so they're playing more conference games. So it's only going to increase likely losses. I mean, it has never mattered in the NFL. Like so and so's undefeated, they ought to be doing this because we've never been conditioned to make it matter. It mattered so much in the history of college football when we had an awful system that being undefeated meant something. You just saw at Florida State, everybody's like, being undefeated means something in college football. Well, it did when you were growing up. It doesn't anymore. The playoff has taken away what undefeated means anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing, a subjective conversation about the greatest team ever, if you do go undefeated in today's college football, like, Michigan, if they finish this thing out, where are they going to be ranked amongst greatest teams of all time? Now, I think if you gave him Penix Jr. and those receivers.
Yeah, they'll still be pretty high, but I really don't know. But, I mean, undefeated will matter, obviously, in seeding. I mean, the better you play, the better you get seeded. That's the way it is in the NFL, too. But I just don't think we're ever going to have a two-loss champion in the playoff. We're like, they weren't deserving. They weren't undeserving. I mean, they're going to have won 4 games in a playoff scenario. They're going to be one of the more deserving champions we've ever had in that situation.
Very common discussion, since you brought that up here, Brown, that the 4-team college football playoff, which we get the end of that era Monday night, which started in 2014, basically killed or neutered the bowls.
I don't think it was the only assailant on the bowls. Like, I think, the transfer portal has hurt them. Guys understanding now they can opt out has hurt them, which I think opt out.
I think that's the biggest.
Yeah. I mean, I think there are several things, but the playoff certainly didn't. The playoff found the bowl system breathing forcibly in the street and didn't give CPR.
Yeah, look, and I don't know this for a fact, but if you went back to 14, 15, 16, the first few years of the 14 playoff, I think the bowls were probably still pretty significant.
So this Reddit discussion I was reading on last night talked about what the 4-team playoffs did the impact of the bowls, and the concern was that the 12-team college football playoff will have the same type of impact on the regular season. Now, you were just talking about the lack of importance of being undefeated and how 2 losses will be looked at differently now. Does that downplay the regular season for you?
I would just simply ask, and I don't want to ignore Auburn here, but Alabama has been in the playoffs far more. So I would ask Alabama fans, you have been in a system where 1 loss didn't kill you. Have those losses hurt any worse? Or any less, I should say. Have those losses hurt any less?
The losses have still hurt.
Like you walked out of Bryant-Denny Stadium having lost to Texas in Game 2. Did that loss hurt?
I think that loss was different based on this.
Well, it was a bad example.
Yeah, the team looked completely lost. Offensive line, quarterback.
Yeah. You worried about your team a little bit.
Yeah. I would say 2012 in the BCS era, it still felt like when you lost to Texas A&M that you lost something.
Yeah, it felt like it was over at that point.
But you still had chances to wiggle back in like you always have in college football. The second loss was always devastating. It still felt like the second loss was devastating.
Did the 14 and 15 losses to Ole Miss, did they hurt any less because you were in a 14 playoff and it wasn't necessarily a killer? No, I don't think they did.
Said Charles, so they have not hurt as bad.
I think 2019 to LSU might have been the worst.
Yeah, but I mean that one it felt like it slammed the door on your playoff hopes. So
because of LSU, right?
Because of LSU.
Yeah.
So I mean, my point there is, if you thought the 14 playoff was going to make the losses, because you could get in this thing with 1 loss now, I don't think those losses have hurt any less.
Well, I mean, now you can get in with 2. So,
my question would be, if in a 14 playoff 1 loss didn't hurt any less, in a 12-team playoffs, are those 2 losses going to hurt any less?
Yeah.
Like I don't think. And I'm using Alabama as an example here, but I'll use Auburn too. I don't think an Auburn fan is ever going to walk out of Jordan-Hare Stadium or Sanford Stadium having lost to Georgia and say, not that big a deal. Do you mean we're still in the playoff hunt? Or an Alabama fan is ever going to walk out of Neyland Stadium or Bryant-Denny Stadium having lost to Tennessee and say, just 1 loss, we're still in the playoffs. You're still going to be pissed. You're going to be hurt at the way it played out. You're going to hate the Tennessee fans for celebrating or hate the Georgia fans for celebrating. and you're going to spend all night Saturday and probably a lot of Sunday reliving that game and the simple plays you could have made to win that game.
I mean, look, if you go to NFL games, I mean, if you're an NFL fan of a team and your team loses, you're still super pissed off. I would say that there's a lot more fights at NFL games than college football games.
Yeah, there are a lot of factors in that. But you're right. There are more fights. I just don't think you're ever going to walk out of a stadium as a college fan or turn off the TV as a college fan and say, I can stomach that loss. We're still in the playoffs. I think, specifically college football, these rivalries are ingrained, and you have just you've got to live with these other fans. I don't think it's going to minimize the importance of college football.
Todd Ferman in the next segment. Show being brought to you in part by our friends at Michelson Laser Vision LT. Tell us again about our friends at Michelson.
Yeah, 205-969-8100. That is the number to call. I had the 20/200 vision before I went to see Dr. Mark Michelson. After the fact, 2015 vision better than 2020. Call 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. She's going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation. 0 to lose to find out if LASIK is right for you. For more information, michelsonlaservision.com.
Okay, so the biggest program that surprises you the most that never made the 4-team college football playoff, 2014 to now, which program surprised you the most and never made it?
Probably USC.
Texas got in just under the wire, right? Well, I would have said Texas.
Yeah, USC was my number one vote. Surprising me that in all these years that Southern Cal never made a 4-team playoff.
If you go back to where, I guess it had slipped a little bit. I was going to say, if you go back to where the world was when the playoff first started discussions, it had slipped too much for me to make this. I mean, I was going to say Florida, but, Urban had been going several years at that point.
Yeah. Penn State jumps to mind to me. I'd put that maybe in my top 5.
Yeah, outside of that, I don't know.
Tennessee never made a 4-teamer.
They did not.
But
really
Florida didn't make a 4-teamer.
Yeah. Again, Florida,
A&M didn't.
Florida, when there were discussions of a 4-team playoff, Urban Meyer was, had just finished, and that was a really good program, but they fell off so much. In hindsight, it doesn't surprise me.
Florida State made it the first year for those that were going to say Florida State here because they got left out this year. They were there the very first year.
And that was Oregon's only appearance, right, as the first year?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they only had one appearance is surprising, but they at least, scratched that. I think Texas would have been the answer until they snuck in under the wire.
But I think USC is the
Texas
answer.
and USC would have been the answers.
USC, Florida State for me. By the way, if you're wondering, most college football playoff appearances in the 4-year, Alabama with 8, Clemson with 6, Ohio State with 5, Oklahoma with 4. Alabama turned 8 of those college football playoff appearances to 6 national championship games.
Most surprising, I guess, was Cincinnati.
They're the only group of 5 team to make it.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that TCU made it from where they started the season. So I'm saying, like, at the start of a season, had I told you Cincinnati made it, you would have been like, it's going to take some chaos, but I could see that. You go back to the start of last year and I say TCU's in the playoffs, you'd have laughed at me. Yeah, that might be the most surprising ultimately was that TCU actually made it in.
And won a game.
And played for a national championship.
How many teams didn't win a game?
Well, that's what I was about to tell you. TCU is the only Big 12 team to win a game. They are 1-6 in playoff history.
Are you serious about that?
I only give you stats.
So
Facts.
the 4-team playoff, the only Big 12 win in the entire 4-team playoffs history was TCU.
They were 0-6.
That is incredible.
Outside of TCU's win last year over Michigan.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong.
Texas continued a tradition. Yeah. The rest of them were Oklahoma losses, right?
Yeah.
I think the Pac-12 only had 2 wins, right?
Pac-12 is 2-2.
Oregon and Washington the other night. Washington has a loss, obviously.
Big 10 4-7. 4-7. ACC 6-6.
Thank you, Clemson.
Yeah, a lot of that from Clemson, but still.
And the SEC 16-6. That's
one reason we got a 12-team playoff, by the way.
Yep.
I mean, that's really the number that you could always go to if people are like, the SEC, I don't know if they're the best conference.
Okay, well, let's just compare best versus best. Where did we do that?
16-6, and as Brownie pointed out, 2 of those losses were SEC on SEC crime there.
Yeah, Alabama beating Georgia in 17 and Georgia beating Alabama in 21.
How many of those wins were SEC on SEC?
Same amount.
Okay.
But I mean,
yeah, I guess that's right.
It's the only way that can work.
Yeah, I know it's Friday.
There's this girl.
Give me a little time.
There was this podcast. I think they used to be with with Barstool, but they have their own now. It's two girls, and this one girl is brilliant. It was right before the holidays. She was like, I saw this floating around the internet the other day. If you take your year of birth and how old you are, and you add it up, no matter who it is, it all adds up to 2023. And
she thought that was
her podcast partner's
Are
like,
you serious?
And she goes, everyone I've done, it works out except for you. And she's like, are you just explaining to me how age works?
Yeah. This is basically
what I mean.
I saw that clip.
You take your year of birth, how old you are, add those two numbers together, and it always adds up to 2023. But yours doesn't. She goes, because my birthday's next month.
You just wait. The math will kick in at some point.
That's what I thought of when you were like, all right, 2 losses, but how many wins? I was like, 2 wins. All right, when we come back, Todd Ferman will join the show that's being brought to you by our friends at Precision Sports. 2024, a new year, and there are new ways to contact your favorite precision sports medicine and orthopedic provider. Man, I've had that back pain, leg pain. They've helped me out a little bit, getting better and better every day, a little less pain every day. They can help you too. Just call this number, 205-512-3885, 512-3885, or go to precisionsportsortho.com/2024. Did you tweak your shoulder during the holiday season? Maybe stretching it out a little bit, that back problem when you're playing hardball with the kids in the backyard, a little tackle football. They can help you no matter what it is and get your life back on track. Orthopedic care is better together. Find your provider today. Call 205-512-3885 or visit precisionsportsortho.com/2024.
Follow Sean Lunsford on Twitter @JLuntz.
Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag. All the games, player props, great parlays, and all right there at MyBookie.ag, right at your fingertips. And right now, you can get a special sign-on bonus when you make your initial deposit by using code NEXTROUND. That's MyBookie.ag, code NEXTROUND for that special sign-on bonus. MyBookie.ag, code NEXTROUND. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag.
Fire damage to your home or business is something you never want to consider. Ryan Brown here from The Next Round. But in the horrible event it happens, Dry Tech is here to help. They respond quickly and will reply to you within 20 minutes when you call 205-637-0143. They're working for you, the customer, not the insurance company. They've got 5 crews ready to go 24/7. Don't call the insurance company first. Call Dry Tech. Just remember this website, mydrytech.com. That is mydrytech.com.
When it comes to great clothing, I love comfortable clothing that I can also wear to the golf course or anywhere I go. I get that from Rhoback. Ryan Brown here for The Next Round. Whether it is the softest hoodies you'll ever find, they're great quarter zips, the polos, the pants, the crew necks, you can get them all at Rhoback.com, and we're helping you save. Your first order at Rhoback.com can get a 20% discount when you use code TNR20. That is Rhoback.com, code TNR20 for 20% off your initial order at Rhoback.com.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap.
You want to look great while supporting your favorite show? You know the place to go is the official Next Round store at nextround.store. Yes, there are .store domains, and we have one. From shirts to hoodies to hats and all kinds of fun stuff, you can rep the Next Round anywhere you go. At the beach, Next Round hats to block out that sun. Up north in the winter, get you a comfy Next Round hoodie. Just need something to put your $20 beer in at a game? Get you a Next Round koozie and throw that thing in your pocket. You never know what stuff Jim's going to make me put in there next. Check it out. It's the Next Round store at nextround.store.
Hey, if you're looking for Birmingham's best pizza, you need to stop in and see our friends at Slice Pizza and Brew. It's as local as you can get, from the ingredients that go into every pizza to the beer on tap. For a great lunch or dinner, go see our friends today, Vestavia or Lakeview at Slice.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Todd Ferman in just a second after Brownie tells you about our friends at mybookie.ag. Mybookie.ag, where the point spreads are out there. Still hanging around 4.5, I assume, for Monday night.
Code next round there at mybookie.ag is what you use when you sign on, and you get that initial bonus right there that you can use right away. You only have to win once with it. It is yours and yours forever. There at mybookie.ag when you use code next round. Jim is right. Michigan a 4.5-point favorite. You can play that there. You can play all the NFL games this weekend. The Week 18 slate has got a ton of meaningful games. At mybookie.ag, you can play all those games. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. Mybookie.ag, code next round. Mybookie.ag, code next round when you sign on, and you get that initial deposit. You can play that super contest they've got going on. $10 gets you in. $10,000 on the line there in that super contest with the NFL games. All right there at mybookie.ag, code next round. Mybookie.ag, code next round.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's whatever. Go ahead.
Looking forward to Ferman coming up here in just a second when he gets on the line. Do you have something you wanted to add there to the end of that?
I was going to say I was looking. Hang on, I have to pull it back up. I closed it. I was going to say I was looking at the mybookie.ag. It's going to take me too long to find it now. The mybookie.ag, that $10,000 contest they had, I'll pull it up next time or in just a little bit and explain something to you they got going on in there.
Okay. I just didn't want you to jump to Ferman, who wasn't there yet. I knew you could not see the call screen. Just trying to help you out. My bad for interrupting you. Show 612 today. Ferman in a moment when we get to him. I will tell you this, that Fox, reports are starting to come out that they're going to make a massive offer, is the word that's being used in the people that are covering the pursuit of the future television rights in college football playoffs. They're going to make a massive offer to try to buy it all. The belief is that neither ESPN or Fox will have enough money to buy all the games, which I think, help me out with the math, Brown's 11 games for a...
Yeah, 12 teams, so 11 games. Yeah. So ESPN owns the last two rounds for, do you know how many more years?
2 years.
2 more years?
Yep.
So this bidding would not be up for a couple of years. And Klatt already told us from inside the industry that whatever they are asking for these first couple rounds is way out of whack.
Yeah, but
so
Fox,
no telling what they would ask for everything.
The media report I saw, Fox is bidding on that as well, as is NBC, CBS, and Apple streaming and some of the other things. So there is a variety, but as we've said all along, there is most likely in the future will be multiple TV partners like the NFL model because you can maximize the money that way. If you're wondering the deal ESPN has right now, it's $470 million a year to broadcast these 3 games. That's pretty hefty.
Whew. Yeah.
So what's that per game, Lance?
What?
470 million.
Yeah, 122, 123 million each.
Yeah, so let's say 125 million per game. Boy, that is a lot of ad revenue you got. Now, look, this is not all. You got to understand. There's a lot that goes around that, right? So it's not just I've got to make 125 million back and then some on that specific game. There's, they do game day live from those games because they have the rights, and that College Game Day makes a lot of money, and they've got a lot less invested in that than 125 million.
But how many spots do you think you have in one broadcast?
Yeah, but you also, as Brown is saying, you have the countdown show throughout the year.
Yeah.
You have all that stuff.
Product placement, a lot of different things I get, but I'm just wondering.
That's a lot of money.
But it's a little over 150 million a game is what it ends up to at 470 million. Let's talk to Ferman now.
All right, Todd Ferman, BetTheBoardPodcast.com and CBS Sports at Todd Ferman on Twitter, the former odds maker there at Caesars Palace with us now on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. What is up, Ferman? How are you?
I'm doing well, gentlemen. I'm glad you guys hopefully have officially recovered from your Vegas sojourn that saw you guys stop here en route to Pasadena and on the way back. The one thing I'll admit I'm a little bit disappointed about, I didn't see any of your pictures on the front page of the Las Vegas Review-Journal. So what that tells me, it means nobody took home a 7-figure jackpot as a parting gift.
Oh, we thought you just might get arrested.
Hey, Dunaway only plays the slots at the airport. He told you that.
That's Brown.
That was me.
You definitely ain't winning 7 figures there. And when it comes to the other side of things, don't worry about it. I have plenty of contacts with bail bondsmen, and I didn't see any of your 3 names happen to show up on his ledger over the weekend.
I will tell you, I only lost $100 in Vegas on this trip, and it was a very quick. I sat down to play 3. I'd had a few glasses of wine. I sat down to play a quick run of 3-card poker before bed on our last night there. And when I sat down and started to put my chips out there, I realized I forgot how to play the game. And you lose your money really quick when you don't know what you're doing.
It makes things a little bit more problematic. But if you told me you only lost $100 Dunaway, I'm a little bit disappointed. That means you didn't bet nearly enough college basketball when you were out here. That's pretty much my main takeaway.
All right, let's start with the NFL, and we'll circle back to some college football futures. This Jacksonville-Tennessee game has significant meaning for the Jags, none really for the Titans. And Trevor Lawrence is still listed as questionable. They're still worried about his ability to make all the throws, especially the deep ones with that shoulder injury. Christian Kirk, also questionable for them. This is a banged-up Jacksonville team. What is your intel telling you about Trevor Lawrence?
The betting market typically tips its hand much before head coaches and a lot of people around these NFL franchises do. And yesterday we saw a major line move come in favor of the Tennessee Titans. The 5.5s that were widely available and now down to 3.5s. There are some 4s out there. I think if Trevor Lawrence goes in a limited capacity, given what we've seen from him over the last couple of data points, it'd be more problematic than C.J. Beathard operating at 100%. Last week, we did see the Jags defense raise its level of play in a 26-0 victory that they needed like blood against the Carolina Panthers. But it was only a season ago where it was the Jacksonville Jaguars spoiling the party for the Tennessee Titans when it came to the AFC South and their playoff aspirations. I think revenge can be a dish best served cold. Mike Vrabel has said all the right things, probably the final game where we'll see Ryan Tannehill as a member of this organization. And given the questions we have about the Jags in the receiver room, with Jamal Agnew being out, Christian Kirk I don't think is going to go despite being listed as limited. I'm not sure they can exploit that Titans secondary, so I like the home underdog here plus the point.
Oh, bad loss for the Jags.
The first game of Saturday means absolutely nothing for Baltimore. It does mean a lot for Pittsburgh. Hard to believe Mason Rudolph on the road in Baltimore, where the Steelers have won 3 consecutive games against the Ravens, are 3.5-point favorites. But I think a lot of people kind of lean Pittsburgh in this spot.
I think when you're talking about games of this magnitude where teams are in that de facto must-win situation, people are going to want to gravitate towards the sides that are playing for something compared to a team that has openly said they're going to bench a lot of their key contributors, most notably MVP frontrunner Lamar Jackson here. But what we've seen in this game is the Baltimore Ravens take money when this number got all the way out to 4. It's as low as a field goal in some spots. And I think, it's when you look at these betting markets, it's all about price. And if the Baltimore Ravens had their full complement of weapons in a game like this playing at home, I'd make them real close to an 11-point favorite. So while I understand Lamar Jackson is a significant upgrade over Tyler Huntley, and you factor in all the other players that are going to be there, it's a 14-point discount, essentially, what the market is telling me right now through a number of key numbers. So for me, if I was going to get involved in this contest, it'd be Baltimore plus 3.5 or better. But I think these are the kind of games that you watch. You can oftentimes find a live betting opportunity, but the Steelers will find it significantly more difficult to show some of that offensive balance that we've seen over the last 2 weeks, knowing that the Ravens' run defense, even with their backups, much more stout than the Cincinnati Bengals and the Seattle Seahawks.
Nobody else wants to talk about it, so I'll talk about the NFC South. First, give me the Tampa Bay feeling against Carolina, and then if Tampa Bay loses, winner of New Orleans and even Atlanta, they play each other, gets into the playoffs. That becomes a play-in game. So those 2 games, how do you like them?
I think when you look at the way this division has worked from top to bottom, would it shock anybody if the Atlanta Falcons, despite being inept, more often than not, backed into a division title here with a mild upset on the road against the New Orleans Saints, getting help from one of the worst teams in the NFL in the Carolina Panthers? The Panthers have the dubious distinction this year, gentlemen, of being the only team in the league that has never led in the fourth quarter at any point. The 2 wins that they had both came with 0-0 on the clock. So if you're going to bet the number 1 pick overall, even if it's not going to be yours, Carolina has gone out there and done so in spades. So kudos to them. Tampa comes into this game with Baker Mayfield banged up. We know he's a gamer, but how effective will he be under center? The Saints did a great job of making Tampa one-dimensional, and I think it could be a problem for the Bucs to move the football here. I probably wouldn't want any part of backing Carolina with this number now having come down through the 6 and trending towards that 4.5 range. But I can see taking a little bit of a flyer on the Falcons to be NFC South Division champions with a price tag close to 7.5 to 1.
Todd Ferman with us, bettheboardpodcast.com, bettheboardpodcast.com for all the games. And he's with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Also follow him on Twitter at Todd Ferman. It is deja vu all over again for Green Bay Packers fans. Home game against a division team not going to the playoffs. They got to win the home game to get into the playoffs. How did that go for them last year, Ferman, and can that repeat this year?
Yeah, rinse and repeat for Green Bay in a similar spot with a very different gentleman under center with Jordan Love, the face of the franchise, and an extremely inexperienced roster. You look at all the freshmen and sophomores essentially that are contributing for Green Bay, and you have to give Matt LaFleur and company credit to even get this team in this particular spot with the rash of injuries that they have dealt with on the offensive side of the ball. Aaron Jones turned back the clock, has been a dynamic runner each of the last 2 weeks with 120-plus rushing yards. And this week, I think Aaron Jones' pass-catching ability will be the most valuable skill set against the Bears group who has been prone to giving up big gains early and often to opposing running backs. The Bears, they've been one of the better stories as well. Once that defense got healthy, it's been a dynamic stop unit. But I do think the Bears will go into battle on Sunday without Jalen Johnson dealing with a shoulder injury. He's poised for a major contract extension this offseason. So in my opinion, it doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense to put yourself out there if you're not 100%. But this has been one of the bigger battles. 3.5's cleared out early in this game with Bears money coming in. Every time the number gets to 2.5, there's a little bit of an appetite for the Packers. For me, guys, I would lean over the total here. Just don't have a strong conviction who comes out with a victory in this spot. But Green Bay has definitely had the Bears number covering 9 straight meetings against their division rivals.
I know the Giants aren't very good, but Philadelphia, the way they're playing 1-5 in their last 6, laying 5.5 in this spot. I know they've got something to play for. Seems like a lot of points, almost laying a touchdown with Philadelphia on the road right now.
This is an Eagles team that's going to be a little bit healthier in this game than what we've seen over the last couple of weeks, so that should be a positive for Philly. But you mentioned it, offensively, they've left a lot to be desired, and I think last week for the Eagles was a little bit of a rock-bottom performance. They still had control of their own destiny in terms of winning the NFC East. You lose outright to your former defensive coordinator in Jonathan Gannon and blow a double-digit lead in the process. I mean, giving up 35 points to the Arizona Cardinals. We saw these teams do battle just a few short weeks ago on Christmas Day, and the Giants showed a ton of fight, were able to connect on a couple of big plays over the top. We'll see if Tyrod Taylor gives them a puncher's chance to pull off the outright upset. This game opened 7. You immediately saw Giants money. Been a little bit of a battle when it dips below 6. It got as low as 4.5 yesterday, and you saw some respected opinions come in on the favorite. I actually think the first half total in this game makes some sense. The weather forecast was supposed to be miserable there with a bunch of snow. It appears that it's going to be a lot cleaner. I think you could see some fireworks in the first 30 minutes. I'd like to go over the total at 21.5.
Ferman, the game with the most on the line, all considered, is Dolphins and Bills down in Miami Sunday. The Dolphins are as banged up as they have been all year. The Bills have some injuries as well. I think this thing has squeaked down to 2.5. It's been bouncing around 3. The Bills favored over the Dolphins on the road. What do you see Sunday?
An interesting game because the number tells one hell of a story. If this game was played last week and the Dolphins had a little better health, Miami would have been a short favorite, even with Buffalo's dominance in the way this rivalry has gone, including that Week 4 48-20 win for Buffalo at home against the Dolphins. Suddenly, though, the Fins not down just Jalen Phillips in that pass rush. It's Bradley Chubb looking to replace nearly 18 sacks between that tandem. Xavier Howard, a long shot. I don't expect him to be out there knowing that the Dolphins are already going to be through to next week. From a skill position standpoint, Jalen Waddle and Raheem Mostert seem doubtful, but 2 will be out there. And you've seen some Dolphins money come in with them as a 3-point underdog. I know people have loved this Bills story. You look at the way they're playing down the stretch, people saying, oh, this is a team that nobody wants to see. But you look at what the Bills have done over the last couple weeks. Other than the 31-3 performance against the Cowboys, where they were able to run the football right at Dallas, they haven't exactly been a juggernaut. I mean, I know it was a flat spot on a Saturday night against the Chargers, but needed to hold on for dear life. Last week was about as ugly as it gets against the Patriots team, whose secondary leaves a lot to be desired. So I wouldn't be running to back Buffalo here. I do think it would be fascinating if both the Jags and Steelers win, and the Bills could go from either being a 2 seed or being left out of the playoffs entirely. If the number gets back to 3, the Dolphins make some sense as a value bet there, and I do think the total has some wiggle room to go under, knowing both of these offenses could struggle to pick up chunk plays and move it with consistency.
All right, national championship game Monday night, Michigan and Washington. Anything surprise you about the semifinals, and what are you thinking happened Monday?
Not really. I think the biggest surprise, quite frankly, for me, guys, was that Michigan's special teams were as bad as they were and gave Alabama a path to potentially winning that game in a mild upset. I wasn't surprised that Alabama struggled along the offensive line, given that was their Achilles heel all year, and it reared its ugly head. Michigan moved the ball effectively in the first half of that game, bogged down in the third quarter, but got the drive when they needed it most. And in the other semifinal, I mean, we thought that Texas's secondary could be a real problem, and it was, given that Michael Penix had time to operate behind a very talented offensive line. It was more Kalen DeBoer's clock management late in that game that opened the door for Steve Sarkisian to pull off an improbable victory that came up just short. When you look at this game, both side and total, numbers a little bit short. I make Michigan a slightly heavier favorite in this particular spot. That being said, I'm not running to back Michigan here at -4.5 because the matchup for me leaves a lot to be desired when I look at this Wolverine secondary and how they're going to match up against the kind of passing attack that you don't see on a week-in, week-out basis within the Big Ten Conference. You look at Michigan, though, they should be able to run the football against the Washington defense that's outside the top 80 from a run defense standpoint. A little bit better against the pass, but I think if Michigan is patient, they'll find a path to success in that regard. The other thing that's challenging for me with Michigan is you wonder what they have left in the tank. I mean, you look at the celebration after winning the Rose Bowl against Alabama, the emotion it takes to be able to run it back, whereas Washington felt like it was a much more workmanlike effort. The money line trended down. I'd look to lay a shorter price on Michigan here. I do think the over makes some sense, but both teams play so slow. So unfortunately, as it stands right now, guys, no investment for me on this game. I'm curious to see where this market settles, though, before we get to kickoff on Monday night.
All right, 2 college football futures questions. Number 1, did you agree with where Vegas put the futures for next year? We looked at them yesterday. Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, and I think Texas was 4th. Is that the way you would have had it?
Yeah, real close. I have to dig into some of those rosters, and I think we're going to see some changes for a number of teams when it comes to the transfer portal. But with the 12-team college football playoff, I know it opens a bigger door for more people to get a place at the table, but at the same time, I think it places an increased level of importance on depth because you're going to see a war of attrition with these teams not getting a full month to rest up and only go into a 2-game setting in a semifinals and championship game. So it definitely benefits the Georgias and Alabamas of the world. And when I look at Georgia, I think they check every box in terms of what a team needs to have to be able to get themselves back to the top of the college football hierarchy. You imagine that they'll play with a little bit more of a chip on their shoulder, having gone out the way they did at the hands of Alabama in the SEC title. So Georgia being the favorite makes a ton of sense. From a price standpoint, shop around, though. I've seen some books as low as 4-1 if you want to tie up your money, and other books as high as 6.5 or 7. Just difficult to try and do that for the better part of 364 days or thereabouts.
And then Heisman odds. Have you seen any? Are there any Heisman odds out yet?
I have not seen Heisman odds. Typically, those will come out a little bit later. But what I do think is going to be interesting about that particular market is how some of the players are priced that don't play in the SEC or Big Ten, and how voters are going to look at teams, knowing that you're not going to have as many teams that go 12-0 with some of these gauntlets of schedule. So I look at a little bit more of the long shot market in conferences, like the Big 12 out there, to see if you can have players put up gaudy stat lines that won't have to try and go through the same absolute grind that we're going to see from the 2 super conferences that are starting to emerge.
Futures, what about futures and produce coming out of the state of Florida? Have you seen those yet?
I don't know what the orange crop is going to look like in terms of the spring and summer, so I will have to defer to you guys with the Farmer's Almanac and look at some of the agricultural forecasts that are out there in terms of us trying to get into the commodities market.
I was trying to think of commodities, maybe in the word I was looking for, from trading. What was it, Trading Places?
Yeah.
They were waiting on the futures to come out.
Right.
It was the big theme and what was going on.
2020.
If you have a strong feel, Dunaway, on where soybeans are going to be 6 months from now, or pork bellies or anything along those lines, I don't discriminate in terms of what kind of markets I'll invest in if I feel like I can do so with an edge.
He just dabbles in Bitcoin now.
Yeah, Dunaway is a Bitcoin king if you follow him on
I
Facebook.
actually had somebody in this building text me a couple of nights ago, hey, is this Dunaway thing real? I didn't think he had the time to do the Bitcoin thing.
So that guy saw Dunaway made $985,000 for some random lady in Bitcoin and thought it was real?
Yeah.
If I'm making all that money, I'm still coming to work. That's impressive. It's impressive.
I was going to say the grind is real, Dunaway. We appreciate your commitment to the craft and being the glue that can hold the three of you guys together.
Hey, I'll see you guys on the other side of the Buccaneers making the playoffs 3 straight years after the win on Sunday. That'll be crazy.
Hey, look, we'll have a chance to talk about it. If they're able to go out there and deliver, and you'll get to live through the Todd Bowles experience for yet another season, which I'm sure is thrilling for Bucs fans across this great country.
We're not all fortunate enough to play in the NFC South, Dunaway, so congrats. All right, Ferman, thank you. Have a great weekend. See you next week.
Hey, always a pleasure, gentlemen. Enjoy the games this weekend and the national championship on Monday night.
All right, buddy, you too. Todd Ferman with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. You can follow him at Todd Ferman on Twitter and read and get all the podcasts at bettheboardpodcast.com, bettheboardpodcast.com.
I'm not sure you're good on Roman numerals, but if you compare this to the last time the Dolphins had one of these, this one's a larger number. It's been more recent.
It is correct, yes.
Yeah.
That is a sick burn.
In fact, we've had two of these.
Yeah.
Since you guys maybe last played in it, right?
Yeah, well, we had to play that quarterback for 20 years against him before he came to win those Super Bowls for you.
Well, one.
Super
we won
Bowl
one
for
with
you.
Brad Johnson.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, we got one with Kurt Warner.
Yep. Yeah, guys, I haven't had one in a while, and I would give anything to play in the NFC South. Trust me.
Yeah.
You
may end up with NFC South talents if you're down there long enough.
What does that even mean? That was weird.
There's a reason why those four teams have that talent level. At some point, it cycles back around. The NFC West was the 8-8 conference just a few years ago, and now look where they rose to. It goes back and forth, back and forth.
I think it's gonna be hard for you guys to lose in Carolina, but boy,
if you do,
be a bad back-to-back loss.
That'd be a rough way to end it.
And then I think the Falcons are going to beat New Orleans. It would be pretty amazing
to get
the Falcons get in.
Team in when they have done nothing to inspire him all year long. But you said, cut one, Rockstar, you said nothing to play for Tennessee. That is not the case if you're Mike Vrabel, who got asked about that. What's the motivation, man, for you guys? Why is it important for you guys to win? Jacksonville has something to play for. What do you guys have to play for? Mike Vrabel with the best quote maybe of the NFL season.
Because it sucks to lose, Gentry.
Trey, ever need to show you anything?
Did you have another thought, or no? I'm just curious.
Well,
it sucks. Losing. Awful. That's why I want to win. Because you don't sleep. You want to win for the players that bust their tail. That's it.
He's had a bad year then.
Well, and it's frustrating for this fan base. You think about how close they've been. I mean, go back 2 years ago, and they were the number one overall seed, and they lose to Cincinnati at home. Since then, it's gone south. You're kind of in a quarterback purgatory with not one, not two, but three quarterbacks that are all very average.
You don't know if you got any of them that are any good long term. Yeah.
Forsher said the old that was Tyler Spartanburg-esque there. Because it sucks to lose, Gentry.
Yes. Tyler.
You got any other questions? Any other thoughts over there, Gentry? Interesting.
Well, I mean, I appreciate that attitude because most of his fans are like, let's don't hurt the draft pick.
Well, I think most of his players have probably packed it in too.
Now, I'll tell you one thing that you get in the NFL, and I heard McAfee talking about this the other day. One thing you get in Week 18, used to be Week 17, and Week 18 in the NFL are the performance bonuses. There are a lot of guys that have to click a number off to get $1 million. And trust me, they know, and they're out there busting that tail for that $1 million bucks or whatever.
We need a list of those, don't we?
Yeah, Puka is trying to get a rookie record, and that's why he'll play a little
27
bit. 27
yards, I think.
27 yards. Late for a break here, but we've got 4 downs, and then we'll talk more NFL with Dan Orlovsky coming up. Show being brought to you by our friends at Legacy. It's time to talk about the amazing credit card that they have right now, and balance transfers become very important if you're looking to go from a high-interest credit card to one that has better interest rates. That's what you can do with a balance transfer with our friends at Legacy. There is no balance transfer fee, so that helps you right off the bat. There's no annual fee. 2.99% annual percentage rate for balance transfer for the first 6 months. So just think about it. You got a credit card bill that's 22%, 24%, 26%. For 6 months, you get that down to under 3% when you transfer those balances over to Legacy. Apply in minutes right now, legacycreditunion.com, and the credit card rates are 8.90% APR. So legacycreditunion.com, APR is the annual percentage rate. Terms and conditions may apply. See credit unions for details. Federally insured by the NCUA. Online at legacycreditunion.com, or you can visit any of their 9 greater Birmingham area branches. It's our friends at Legacy.
Our Monday morning quarterback is Fox Sports' Joel Klatt. Every Monday at 10:25.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap.
The Next Round is so much more than the show you get from 9 to 1 each day. So make sure to head to our official YouTube channel at Next Round Live and subscribe to get all of our latest content. We, of course, have plenty of specialty content and shorts based all around the sports in the heart of the SEC. But we also talk pro sports, gambling, lifestyle and entertainment, and so much more. It's the Next Round YouTube channel where you never know what you're going to find next. Subscribe now to see the latest content and get notifications when we go live. That's at Next Round Live on YouTube.
Support the show and grab some great t-shirts and hoodies right now in the Next Round store. Buy the Alabama State Map shirts in your team's favorite colors, the popular Y'all Can Have the Rest, or Next Round flag shirts are also online now. Just go to nextround.store. That's nextround.store. The traditional Next Round logo shirts are there too. Buy them for yourself, or they make a great gift for someone else. And let us know what you'd like to see in the store coming up. Nextround.store. That's nextround.store.
IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, and compression therapy all under one roof. It's our friends at HydroLive. Mention Next Round at checkout. Save 20% off any service. HydroLive's got 3 locations, Homewood, Tuscaloosa, and coming soon to Greystone.
There are so many things I love about walk-ons. Authentic, mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine, prepared fresh, daily from scratch. A great beer selection and TVs everywhere to watch the big game every day of the week. And of course, they've got 2 great locations on Highway 280 and 119 and at Hoover near the Hoover Met. Walk-ons is also a great place for happy hour, 2 to 6 Monday through Friday with $5 moonshine swirls, $5 house pours, and half-price appetizers. And it's an easy take-home experience for the family as well. Highway 280 and Hoover with walk-ons.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live will share the latest interviews and videos from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and campuses all over the college landscape. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Live Daily Show. Jim, Lance, and Ryan will share their thoughts, and remember you can always see the old shows on the Next Round Live YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, and don't forget to comment. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. It's Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Remind me before Trash Brownie to tell you the dumbest matchup in college ball playoff national championship history.
The dumbest?
By U.S. News and World Report.
Oh.
It's the smartest one happening Monday night between Washington and Michigan.
Right.
Their academics. I'll tell you the dumbest one.
Okay.
Coming up right before Trash. Here's Bruce Pearl on Auburn opening up SEC play tomorrow, as all the SEC does. And here's Bruce talking about the challenge of Auburn opening up on the road against a desperate Arkansas team.
Last time we went on a true road game at App State, we didn't handle it very well, didn't shoot it very well. We battled and hung on. So this will be I would say this will be the toughest challenge of the year. This is the most talented team we play. This team is more talented than Baylor. They got more depth, and they were preseason pick 3rd in our league. So not everybody will be able to go to Arkansas and have a chance. We hope to be a team that can go on the road and compete with the best teams in our league, and this is certainly one of them.
So Auburn does that tomorrow, starting SEC play. Bama is up in Nashville. Best game of the day, more on this one a little bit later, could be number 22 Ole Miss against the top 10 Tennessee on the road. We'll finally see how good Ole Miss is. The show being brought to you by our friends at Johnston RV Center, johnstonrvcenter.com.
I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur, and always online, johnstonrvcenter.com is where you find them. A lot of RV shows will be cranking up throughout the Deep South, and Johnston RV Center says, why wait? Just do the show right now. So they're going to do it right now. You can get great deals on all the stuff they got out of Forest River that is coming down from the Forest River people. Great stuff there, and see their previously owned stuff as well. Get great deals, low as $179 a month. I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. Always online, JohnstonRVCenter.com.
And also by our friends at Slice that brings you 4 downs every day.
Yeah, 4 great locations. The original in Lakeview, one of Vestavia, one of Montevallo, Crestline Park as well. Local pizza, local ingredients. Stop in. Don't forget about that $75 carryout where you get 2 of the specialty pizzas, half pan of the salad, 12 fire-baked wings, 7 days a week, $75. For more information, SliceBirmingham.com.
First down.
We using yours or mine?
Yes, all yours.
Okay.
I hit some of mine earlier.
I thought we were doing 8 downs.
No. We got Dan Orlovsky coming up here at the top of the hour.
January Jones, 46 years old today. More obnoxious TV wife, Betty Draper or Skylar White?
Skylar White.
Skylar White from Breaking Bad, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I would lean Skylar, but boy, Betty was such a
but there was one
powder.
There was one redeeming quality about her that Skylar didn't necessarily have.
That's true.
So I'll go.
She liked to get after it, right?
No, that's not what I was saying.
Okay.
No, it's just her look.
Yeah. She was better.
She was miserable, though, the final seasons.
Yeah, she was.
It's close.
Yeah, Skylar was pretty miserable, too.
She put on weight, though, right?
Who, January Jones?
Yeah. No, I'm talking
a
about
little bit.
in the show.
Yeah.
She had to battle weight loss.
Yeah.
Makes us all irritable, LT.
Second down.
You guys probably don't know who Clancy Brown is, but when I explain, you will. He's 65 years old
Clancy
today.
Brown was the judge in To Kill a Mockingbird.
Nope.
That is not
65 today?
Damn. Yeah.
What
That
was
would
he?
be really impressive.
He was
He
2.
won.
Yeah,
when he
2 when
played
the movie was made.
So Clancy Brown's 65. Better villainous role for Clancy Brown, the Kurgan in Highlander or Captain Byron Hadley in Shawshank?
Never seen Highlander. Byron Hadley I did not like. Ended badly for him, too. Cried like a baby.
That's what they said.
That's what they said. So I'll go Byron Hadley.
Did he?
The Kurgan was a bad dude, though.
Yeah.
Did he die by prison?
They never say. They said he
They didn't
went
say
to prison.
Yeah, he went to prison, cried like a baby. The warden, he wasn't going to go so easy.
Yeah. I'd go with the one movie I've seen, so I'd go with the Shawshank version.
Have you ever seen Highlander, Rocky?
I have not. I have not just been a fan of what chopping their heads off with. Sean Connery in the last one.
Yeah. He was the first, the original Highlander. It's actually entertaining.
And he's the voice of Lex Luthor. Is that what they're saying in the chat room? Is that correct?
No idea.
Me either.
No, I
Could
didn't
be.
know that.
He was in the original Bad Boys. His name
Third
is Viking. Robert Duvall, 93 years old today.
One of my favorite actors of all time, actually.
He's a great actor.
Really good.
Better military role for Duvall, Apocalypse Now or The Great Santini?
Apocalypse Now.
I think I would go with that as well. Not
Have
my
you guys
favorite
seen
Bob
The
Duvall
Great
role.
Santini?
I have not seen The Great Santini.
I haven't either.
I've seen Apocalypse
Oh,
Now.
man. It's Apocalypse Now is probably my favorite war movie. The Great Santini, that role that he played with Michael O'Keefe was incredible.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it.
Yeah, I think I love him in The Natural. He's really good. I thought in The Natural is the hated newspaper reporter. But still to this day, I think in The Godfather is my favorite role for him. And I know that's it's kind of basic to say that, but that's probably my favorite character
Like
from
in Days of
Godfather.
Thunder?
Tom Hagen?
Not as much. Tom Hagen's
Really?
my favorite Godfather character, yeah.
I thought he was good. I thought he fit perfectly.
I always liked Tom Hagen.
Fourth down.
And finally, this could be a poll question for us. Bradley Cooper is 49 years old today. If I asked you ultimately better career, Bradley Cooper or Kirby Smart?
It's just so hard to judge because one's a college football coach and one is an actor. I'm going to go Bradley Cooper.
He is on the way. He will probably he's not won an Oscar yet, correct?
No.
I don't think so.
He'll win an Oscar, and he's
Yeah.
going to go behind he'll become a director.
Yeah, and he will be the highest paid male actor in several. I'm probably going to go Bradley Cooper. It's a tough one, though.
Yeah,
That's a tough one.
you just wonder. I mean, if Kirby Smart was to get 2 more national
I know.
championships, it changes completely.
Yeah, but I mean, you throw actors and musicians ahead of 7-time national champion Nick Saban all the time. Kirby only have 4.
Wait, who did I throw in front of him?
Oh, I mean, it seems like every poll
Sylvester
question.
Stallone.
Sylvester Stallone.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
Sylvester Stallone. I'll stick with that.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So Bradley Cooper is easily ahead of Kirby Smart.
I wouldn't go easily. I mean, Bradley Cooper is yet to. I mean, he's definitely an A-list guy. He's one of the highest paid actors out there.
Was he a producer, director in Star is Born? He was a big part of that. Yeah,
I think it was the director.
Yeah, but how good was that movie?
It made some money.
I thought it was shaky.
That's our 4 downs today, brought to you by our friends at Slice. Tell us again about our friends at Slice.
4 great locations this weekend. Head into Lakeview, Vestavia, Montevallo, now Crestline Park. Coming soon to Homewood. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
Dan Orlovsky coming up on the other side, and a little bit more basketball before we get to trash. And who played in the dumbest national championship game in the 4-team college football era, according to U.S. News and World Report, the rankings of teams. It's coming up.
Is this the IQ-wise academics?
Yeah, where the institutions rank.
I think I got this.
For instance, Michigan is 21st in the U.S. News and World Report. Washington is 46th. This is the smartest one. The dumbest one, right before trash, in about 30 minutes right here on TNR.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game, or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken.
Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with mybookie.ag. All the games, player props, great parlays, and all right there at mybookie.ag, right at your fingertips. And right now, you can get a special sign-on bonus when you make your initial deposit by using code NEXTROUND. That's mybookie.ag, code NEXTROUND for that special sign-on bonus. mybookie.ag, code NEXTROUND. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with mybookie.ag.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Make sure to start your day at nextroundlive.com. Get caught up on the latest podcasts and videos from the live daily show, plus specialty shows such as the Mystery Fifth Hour. You can also learn more about the whole staff at Double Down Media, find all of our social media feeds, see the latest videos from our YouTube channel and gaming channel, plus find other ways to consume the show like the Next Round mobile app, which you can download direct from the site via your iOS and Android device. Make nextroundlive.com your homepage and stay up to date with everything from us here at the Next Round.
Spring weather is here, and our friends at Hemphill Services are offering a $69 HVAC tune-up plus 10% off any service call when you mention the Next Round. Call Adam, Chad, and the guys at Hemphill Services. Make sure your HVAC unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Hemphill Services, locally owned and operated independent train dealer. The team can service all makes and models. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Hemphill Services. It's hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com. That's 205-229-2090, hemphillservices.com. Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Ooh, we're back from the national championship semifinal game at the Rose Bowl in studio today. I think it was Orlovsky who called it the worst offensive performance he's seen from Alabama in his lifetime.
I believe that those are the words. Dan, did Jim just quote you correctly there?
Yeah, that is accurate. Guys, I was just honestly shocked. I've seen Alabama play sloppy. I've seen Alabama, maybe not as dynamic as they've been in the past. But as far as like adjustments and as far as figuring out what the other team was doing against you successfully and having kind of that counter option or counter thought, man, I haven't seen every snap by Alabama over the last 10, 15 years of my adult life, but I've seen a bunch of them. That was the worst I've seen when it comes to that.
Do you give some credit to Michigan's defense? Because that defense seems legit.
Yeah, no, tons. But I think part of it is the prism or vantage point I kind of always look at football through is like the intellectual aspect of it, the X's and O's, the nerd aspect of it. And so tons of credit to Michigan's defense. But the attempt to, okay, you're doing this, so we are going to do this, and we're not going to do this, was the point I was making. From the first snap offensively that Alabama had, if you know football, and obviously Alabama does as much as anybody in college football, it was very clear Michigan was going to put 5 guys at the line of scrimmage, and they were going to blitz. And they were going to slant their defensive linemen. If you do that on the first play, you're trying to figure out if you can or can't. You're not trying to just win the first play. And Alabama just kept dropping Jalen back. And there was never like, hey, let me throw a perimeter screen, which is something you could do against it. Hey, let me get quarterback run dialed up sooner, something you could do against it. Maybe get play action pass and max protection, something you could do against it. They didn't do that really until the third quarter. That's kind of, again, credit to Michigan, no doubt. It was outstanding. But I do believe Alabama made it easier for them to do what they wanted.
Dan joins us each week, courtesy of MyBookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on to MyBookie.ag. All those NFL games, that super contest going on this weekend for Week 18. Code next round gets you that sign-on bonus. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag. As you can see in the background, Dan joins us from Baltimore, where he'll be part of the Ravens-Steelers game. The Ravens resting a lot of guys, understandably. The Steelers playing for their playoff lives, Dan, in this game that you'll have early Saturday. Look, this is your best chance to beat the Ravens. You're probably not going to beat them if you're the Steelers with Lamar Jackson and everybody playing, so they've got a shot here.
Yeah. Big time. To be honest with you, Pittsburgh has kind of won this matchup over the past 3 years, I think. I think they've won 5 out of their last 6. Now, Baltimore hasn't had their guys in those situations. Sometimes it's because of resting players. Sometimes it's because of the injuries that this organization has dealt with, which over the last 2 or 3 years has been just unbelievable and probably the worst injury luck in the NFL. So, Baltimore rightfully is going to rest some of their guys. I've said this. This isn't a bowl game, though. You only get 53 guys on your roster, and you only get to dress 46. So some guys have to play. Now, I think that they're going to be smart with some people, and I think they're going to try to make sure that they're staying relatively game sharp without exposing themselves to injury. Odell's not going to play. I'd be surprised if Zay Flowers does play. We'll see. I don't believe Lamar is going to play. And that's kind of all we know as far as guys who aren't going to. I'm sure there's going to be some other people that are in that conversation. For Pittsburgh, it's remarkable that they're in this position. It's not win and get in, but it's win and, man, Sunday's a big deal. Win and watch, essentially. And the fact that Mike Tomlin made the coordinator change and they've simplified things on offense and they've decided, hey, we're just going to go after you and try and stop it. And Mason Rudolph has stepped in and not been unbelievable, but he's been pretty darn good. And George Pickens the last 2 weeks has been who George Pickens can and should be. And the defense is good enough. I'd be surprised if this game isn't in the fourth quarter. I'd be surprised if this game wasn't close. And I'd be surprised if Pittsburgh doesn't get one of those vintage TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, Minkah Fitzpatrick plays to give them a big chance to win.
Big game in the AFC South Saturday night. Houston heads to Indianapolis. Last time you saw a rookie quarterback play as well as C.J. Stroud?
Play as well as C.J. Stroud, or as impressive as C.J. Stroud. Last time I saw a rookie quarterback do that. Okay, so, Joe didn't play the whole year, but Joe was trending in that direction. Probably Andrew, off the top of my head, Andrew Luck in 2012 when he took the Colts. I was on that 11 team that stunk. and he took the Colts, I believe, into the playoffs his first year. So, maybe Cam Newton. I don't know. Cam might have been before that, but Andrew's the name that comes to the top of my head. It's remarkable that Houston is win and get in with a rookie quarterback and a rookie head coach and a lot of noise that was a part of that organization for the past couple of years. I think it's awesome what Indy has accomplished as well. And the fact that they lost Anthony Richardson early on, that game is going to come down to the red zone for Houston offensively. Indy's going to play a ton of zone, and CJ's going to have a ton of completions. No quarterback in the NFL holds the ball longer in the red zone than CJ. And if he's able to do that and create some plays that equal touchdowns, Houston wins.
I will tell you, both those games are on ESPN Saturday. Pittsburgh and Baltimore, 3:30 Central, 4:30 Eastern, followed by Houston and Indianapolis. So you'll get that right there on ESPN. Moving to the Sunday games, pretty simple for my Buccaneers. They win, they're in. They lose, and they're out. And the winner of New Orleans and Atlanta gets in. People on this table make fun of the NFC South all the time. I tell them how difficult it's a top to bottom, it may be the most competitive division in the NFL.
Competitive? Just because everybody's 8-8 doesn't make it competitive.
It's a loose use of that word competitive. A parody maybe, but I don't know about competitive. I would. Tampa's not going to lose that game. Too much on the line. They're too good of a football team. Baker didn't play well last week. Really, last week was their third down defense. That should not be a problem against Carolina, who has struggled all year. I don't think Carolina's defense can contain Mike and Chris for the extension of those 4 quarters. Tampa Bay knows what's on the line. And it's really an impressive accomplishment if they're able to win that division, because I think them and the Rams are probably two of the teams that if you just polled people and said, hey, in August, who are your two or top 5 teams that you think are in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes? Both of those teams you could have justified being into that conversation. So credit to Todd Bowles and Jason Licht, their general manager, the fact that they've got the chance to win that division. I would be absolutely floored if they lost that game.
Dan Orlovsky, ESPN, with us each week, courtesy of MyBookie.ag. Code next round for that sign-on bonus at MyBookie.ag. Code next round. I bet anything, anytime, anywhere. He is with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Miami Buffalo play for the AFC East Saturday night. Buffalo, there is a scenario in your game where the Steelers win, Miami wins, Buffalo is not in the playoffs. I've asked this question, and I can't really think of anybody, a team where, Dan, you would say, boy, if they get in, they can win the Super Bowl, but there's a chance they might not get in. I mean, it's pretty rare we have that team, but I think Buffalo is that team.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And, a part of that conversation, right, is like Buffalo dealt with a crap ton this year. They went from basically the best team in football in September. In week 1, Josh plays awful, shocking loss for Monday Night Football. The next 4 or 5 weeks, they're the best team in football. Then they go on that stretch where they're in London and they lose their best defensive player, who's one of the best backers in football, Matt Milano. And it's like, okay, well, how do we do that? Then they lose Tre'Davious White, who's their best man-to-man cover corner. It's like, well, okay, well, what's the answer now? And then they lose Daquan Jones, who's one of their 2 best defensive linemen outside of Ed Oliver. And you're like, well, we've lost 3 of our 5 best players on offense or defense. And then all of a sudden the offense starts to sputter and it's very predictable. And it's like, hey, you guys, you got to do something. They fire Ken Dorsey. So like part of that is like, oh my gosh, they went through a lot of turmoil during the season. And then it settles down. They trade for Roswell Douglas, who in many ways have saved their season at corner. And they start to play like big time football again. And what they've done the past couple of weeks is enough. They did not play well last week, but it was enough versus New England. They did not play well the week before versus Chargers, but it was enough. And they've put themselves in this situation, which no one would have thought 6 weeks ago. If they win the division. I think they have the chance to be the 2 seed, if I'm accurate.
Yeah, depends on what Kansas City does, I think. Yeah.
Which is outrageous. I mean, that doesn't happen in the NFL. And I sent this tweet out this morning. Like 99.9% of me thinks Lamar Jackson has won the MVP. But if Josh Allen goes down there to Miami and he has 4+ touchdowns this weekend, he's going to have 45, 46 touchdowns on the year, 4,800 yards. It's hard to not give that human being the MVP. It just is. after everything that team has been through. And they could beat anybody. And if I was Baltimore, that would be the one team where I'm like, man, I don't want to see them because I don't want to see 17 because I know what he's capable of.
You know, this is going to be highly debated. I've already seen you guys kind of talking about this, but what Chicago is going to do, the future of Justin Fields, number 1 overall pick that they acquired from Carolina. Do you stay there? Do you take possibly a quarterback like Caleb Williams, or do you stick with Justin Fields? I actually like Justin Fields. I don't know where you are on this side of the debate. I think he's got a lot of upside.
Yeah, I think for Chicago, I do too. I thought Justin was going to play MVP caliber football this year. I didn't think he would win it because the team wasn't good enough. But just as far as performance, started off rough. I thought the offense was terrible. He had no confidence. I think there's a couple things that Chicago is going to have to ask itself. Number one, who do they think is going to be the better player for the next 10 years? Like that's number one. Caleb or Justin Fields, and they're going to have to figure that out. Number two, you don't just draft the rookie quarterback to create financial flexibility. Ask the Jets how that went with Zach Wilson. They move on from Sam Darnold. We got to reset the quarterback financial market. Yeah, okay, guys, how'd that work out? So I think that's number two. And then number three, what are you getting offered for both player and Justin and that pick? You know what's great? Having a rookie quarterback that's a good player on a rookie deal. You know what's as great? Having 3 really good rookie players on rookie deals. And if they're getting 3 first-round picks from the Commanders or the Patriots, that's going to be hard to say no from. And the last thing I say is this, because I know you guys probably got to get going. We got to stop saying, well, if they keep Justin, they got to pay him $300 million. No, they don't. They got to pay him like $60 million over the next 2 years. And then they got to make a choice. But that doesn't mean they have to shell out that money to that player.
Let me correct myself real quick. Dan said the Bills could be the 2 seed. They actually would hold the tiebreak over Kansas City, so it would be the 2. So that is crazy to go from maybe not making the playoffs to being the 2 seed in one weekend.
Right?
Yeah.
That is nuts. That is, and that's why I think Buffalo wins the game as well.
Oh, come on, Dan. Yeah, I mean, we could have ended that without Dan.
The injuries, man. The injuries.
I know.
I feel awful for him.
I do too. Waddle and Mostert practicing today, so that would be massive if both those guys could give it a go. Yeah. So
yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah, send up your prayers, everyone. Dan, thank you very much for the time. We'll see you on ESPN Saturday, and then back with us next week. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, buddy. Dan Orlovsky with us each week, courtesy of MyBookie.ag. Code next round. Code next round at MyBookie.ag to get that sign-on bonus. At MyBookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag. Code next round. Dan is on that early game, Pittsburgh and Baltimore on ESPN.
And the show being brought to you by our friends at Legacy as well. Sign up today for Engaged Checking at LegacyCreditUnion.com or visit any of their 9 greater Birmingham area branches. You get 3% APY on balances up to $15,000. Now, the APY is the annual percentage yield right there. Terms and conditions may apply, so you need to see the credit union for details. You also get paid 2 days early with direct deposit. That includes your paychecks, your Social Security, tax refund, whatever. And you have the instant issue debit card, all with Engaged Checking. They also have the wonderful credit card there at Legacy, which includes no balance transfer fees. They really want you to find Legacy as a great home to get rid of those high-interest credit cards and transfer over to Legacy. Apply online, LegacyCreditUnion.com, or stop by any of the 9 greater Birmingham branches. See Credit Union for details, federally insured by the NCUA. Also today by our friends at Hemphill LT.
Hemphill right now, call 205-229-2090. Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys at Hemphill Services. $69 tune-up when you mention the next round. Trust the name. Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. It's our friends at Hemphill Services. Hard to stop a train.
Couple of quick questions of my 4 downs that I didn't get to. I want your answers really quick. Football-wise, better quarterback situation now that Will Howard's at Ohio State next year. Ohio State or Oregon? Which quarterback situation you like more?
I like Oregon's.
You like Dylan Gabriel? You like Will Howard?
Yeah. I think the numbers might be better for Will Howard, just, talent around him. I say that. I might pull that back. I think Dylan Gabriel's just a better quarterback.
All right.
Receiving room is usually pretty good at Ohio State. Mm-hmm. They lose Julian Fleming, who was the number 1 overall recruit a couple of years ago. 3 years at Ohio State, never really could get to the top of the food chain there in that great receiving room. He's now at Penn State, but I assume they still have more receivers there to help out Will Howard, who also factors in the run game a little bit right there. Michael saying, friend of the show, Jeff Collins being targeted as North Carolina's defensive coordinator.
Yeah, I saw that reported while we were talking to Dan. I was going to try to give credit to who I first saw report it. Matt Zenitz, our buddy Matt Zenitz, 24/7 Sports, that North Carolina is targeting ex-Georgia Tech head coach Jeff Collins. Jeff, it did not work out for him at Georgia Tech, obviously, but everywhere he's been, that defense has been pretty good.
Yeah, really good recruiter. You wonder for Jeff Collins, though, what is the offset of what he got paid from Tech and what he'd be making at North Carolina? And then another factor, if Mac Brown does hang around for another season, if you go there one and done, new staff, it might just be a one-year kind of situation. I know he probably make close to $1 million, but what you got paid out from Georgia Tech, is it worth it?
Yeah, I also wonder, does in his mind, is Jeff maybe thinking, go there, be really good at what I'm doing, and then when Mac steps aside, maybe they look at me and say, all right, it didn't work at Georgia Tech, but it did at Temple, and this guy's a good coach. Maybe he gets the head coaching job there.
Our JohnsonRVCenter.com question of the day, tell me this, better chance of happening in SEC basketball tomorrow, Ole Miss beating Tennessee or Arkansas beating Auburn?
I was looking a moment ago. The college basketball lines, Lance, will not come out until when?
They will be out around midnight tonight. You might be able to get it a little quicker at some other shops.
But for those that haven't paid attention, Chris Beard at Ole Miss, they're number 22 in the country.
Undefeated, 22 in the AP. Now, Ken Palm's got them like in the 90s.
Right, because they played nobody.
Yeah, so the analytics say they're not nearly as good. Now, this would be a huge win to be able to go into Knoxville and beat this Tennessee team. I would say Tennessee is probably going to be about a 6.5-point favorite.
Yeah, I follow a guy in Vegas, a guy named Brian Edwards, who before the lines will come out will try to predict them based on Ken Palm. Like he'll use Ken Palm and predict them. He had Auburn favored 5 at Arkansas.
On the road.
On the road at Arkansas,
5.
Based on the Ken Palm, where he thinks it has normally fallen with Ken Palm. He had Tennessee favored 14 against Ole Miss.
Yeah,
that's a big number.
I don't think it'll be that
He's
big.
got Bama 17 against Vandy, by the way.
Yeah, that feels about right, though, with Tennessee's defense, the way they play, how physical they are, and you just don't know enough about Ole Miss.
The only problem you get, though, is, and look, I've always thought that this is kind of an untrue theory that Vegas wants money balanced. But, I mean, the money would be so heavy on Ole Miss when you look at number 22, the fact they haven't lost a game and they're catching double digits.
And Chris Beard's reputation.
Yeah, I just think you could list it, under that.
I would tell you this, Alan Flanagan averaging 17.6 rebounds a game for that Ole Miss team.
Pretty good rebounder. Was it Auburn last year?
Yeah, got it left and is now with Ole Miss. Auburn with an Arkansas team that's been disappointing, as Bruce told us earlier, that roster better than their record indicates. Always tough in Fayetteville for that one. Bama's in Nashville. We'll get some home games coming up on Tuesday night, both in Tuscaloosa and down at Auburn, as we get into SEC play now in basketball. Trash coming up on the other side. The show being brought to you by JohnsonRVCenter.com. Brown.
I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 indicator is where you find Johnston RV Center. And I mentioned, they've been up to that Forest River Expo. That stuff has arrived. And a lot of people are going to have RV shows, right? You'll see that coming up in the spring, RV show, get ready for the summer. Johnston RV Center says, why wait, man? Do an RV show right now. So they're doing it. I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 indicator. And always online, JohnstonRVCenter.com. They thank the military the way we do. The United States veteran is the reason this is the greatest country in the universe. No questions asked about it. So if you're active duty or retired military, you get a great discount as just a small thank you from Johnston RV Center. I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 indicator. Always online, JohnstonRVCenter.com.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
There's only one Champy's world famous fried chicken. Poor boy's tenders, full fried chicken plates, and a little bit of the Mississippi Delta with chicken on a stick and hot tamales. On your way to or from the big game on Highway 119 in Alabaster, stop by Champy's Chicken.
This hour of the Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Fire damage to your home or business is something you never want to consider. Ryan Brown here from The Next Round. But in the horrible event it happens, Dry Tech is here to help. They respond quickly and will reply to you within 20 minutes when you call 205-637-0143. They're working for you, the customer, not the insurance company. They've got 5 crews ready to go 24/7. Don't call the insurance company first. Call Dry Tech. Just remember this website, mydrytech.com. That is mydrytech.com.
When it comes to great clothing, I love comfortable clothing that I can also wear to the golf course or anywhere I go. I get that from Roback. Ryan Brown here for The Next Round. Whether it is the softest hoodies you'll ever find, they're great quarter zips, the polos, the pants, the crew necks, you can get them all at Roback.com, and we're helping you save. Your first order at Roback.com can get a 20% discount when you use code TNR20. That is Roback.com, code TNR20 for 20% off your initial order at Roback.com.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
When it comes to great clothing, I love comfortable clothing that I can also wear to the golf course or anywhere I go. I get that from Roback. Ryan Brown here for The Next Round. Whether it is the softest hoodies you'll ever find, they're great quarter zips, the polos, the pants, the crew necks, you can get them all at Roback.com, and we're helping you save. Your first order at Roback.com can get a 20% discount when you use code TNR20. That is Roback.com, code TNR20 for 20% off your initial order at Roback.com.
University of Montevallo, a great place to get a fantastic education. Montevallo.edu for details. 23 NCAA Division II fully funded scholarship sports. If your son or daughter wants to continue their athletic career in college, you can do that at the University of Montevallo. A lot of great sports there. Also, great academics for teachers, broadcasters, theater department, music department, business school. It's all at Montevallo. Schedule an in-person tour right now, montevallo.edu, montevallo.edu. Beautiful campus there at the University of Montevallo. From that U of M to the U of M that's playing in the championship game of football Monday night, Michigan is number 21 in this year's U.S. News and World Report rankings when it comes to academic. They are playing Washington, number 40. They're the 2 highest ranked schools to play in the college football playoff title game ever. So their combined ranking blows everyone else out of the water as far as the academic schools playing for the national title. The second closest one was, let me make sure I'm correct about this, yes, was Georgia and TCU last year. Georgia in at 49, TCU in at 89. I'll ask you guys each the dumbest, according to U.S. News World Report, academic national championship game in college football playoff history.
I will go, so we're 2014 to now, right?
Yep.
I will go 2020, the great LSU team against Clemson.
Brownie?
And this is only national championship game.
Only the national championship game.
I don't know.
It is 2020, part of the 2019 season. Clemson, 70th in the U.S. News World Report. LSU was in at 153 academically, 223 total points there. Alabama.
Orgeron cared about that APR, though, didn't he?
Alabama has played in this game twice as low as 103 in the rankings, but recently they've been in the 140s. The next lowest academic game was Georgia-Alabama when it was 48 versus 148 Alabama that year. Ohio State 53, Alabama 143. Clemson in the 60s. But LSU, as far as academics go, would be the highest or the lowest ranking, depending on how you're looking at it.
Where's Florida State on there?
Well, they never played in the championship.
They didn't make it to the championship game. I was wondering why it wasn't in there.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't find Florida State.
And this is no commentary at all on you bringing this up, but I can't tell you how little I care about this.
I understand. ACC has the best rankings of the football playing Power 4. Big Ten is second, 52.3, 52.8. Big gap, SEC 113.3. The Big 12, 137. So we can at least look down our nose academically at the Big 12. Let's get to trash now. It's brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right. Hit it, Rockstar.
They let me look at the lawyer's building. I know the vacuum cleaner man. He's seen my tits. I know that's not going on TV, but it's true. It's true. I'm not here to lie to you.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
Are you a veteran looking for a VA loan? Mortgage Right has been advocating for veterans since their company began. As a veteran-owned, operated company committed to your well-being, they can help you find the best terms available, guide you through every step of the process. As a veteran-owned, operated company, they understand the difference between working with someone who gets it and someone who doesn't. They've made it their mission to simplify the VA loan process. Visit their location, Highway 280 in Birmingham. You can apply online, mortgageright.com/TNR, or call 205-815-9200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. We start first. A Pennsylvania dog shocked his owners and veterinarian after eating $4,000 in cash. Oof.
$4,000 in cash.
$4,000. Cecil, 7-year-old golden doodle from Pittsburgh, usually well behaved according to his owners, Clayton and Carrie. But last month, Cecil ate $4,000 in cash and had been sitting on the law's kitchen counter waiting to be stowed away. Now, the money had been a withdrawal from the couple's joint savings account. Washington Post reported within 30 minutes of retrieving the funds from their local bank, Cecil had already chowed down on the cash, leaving behind just torn bits of their money.
There's a certain percentage of the actual bill that if you've got that, they'll replace it. I've read that somewhere.
Well, I've got that in here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Panicked couple first reached out to Cecil's vet, see if the dog needed any medical treatment. Thankfully, given his size, Cecil only needed to be monitored at home. Couple then got to work trying to piece together remaining bills that Cecil hadn't chewed and the ones that he had already eaten. Now, the bank told the couple that money accidents involving dogs happen frequently. As long as the serial number on the bills are still visible, the bank would take back the chewed money.
Oh, that's good. So all I got to do is have the serial number. If you ate it just right, I could get most of this back.
Good luck finding that. Look at that. That is scattered and covered.
It is.
You start washing some of the poop off to see if you can get the serial number. Oof. So that dog literally would have eaten my homework.
Very much.
Now, Cecil had thrown up some of the ingested money. The laws had to recover much of the cash through Cecil's bowel movements.
Yeah, man.
Can you imagine just seeing if he was a stray? Ethel, look at that. That dog shits cash.
We need to grab him. Get as many of those as we can.
Forget the golden goose. We got a golden doodle.
Hey, I tell you what. I mean, I am not. What?
Nothing.
I didn't give you enough of that. Golden doodle.
Golden doodles. Okay, let's go. Got you.
Carrie went on to tell the paper, quote, they were at the utility sink. We were washing the shitty money, yelling, "Yeah, yes, we got one. It smelled so bad." Carrie told the Post that she had, quote, never thought she'd be able to say, "I've laundered money," but there is apparently a first time for everything.
I mean, it's not unlimited at my house, the money, by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm going to have to need it pretty bad to dig through dog crap for it.
$4,000, I probably would.
Well, I mean, I'm saying there's a point to where I'm tell Jennifer, like, we got enough of it back. I am going to quit digging through the dog crap for it.
A man is suing Dunkin' Donuts after he suffered from a toilet explosion nearly 2 years ago, according to court documents filed on Wednesday. Is this the still shot we've got?
Probably the courtroom drawing, courtroom sketch.
Yes. Yeah. So that's not an actual photo?
The lawsuit says the man, Paul Carrerick, was visiting a Dunkin' Donuts location around January 6, 2022. While at the store, a toilet in the men's bathroom exploded, covering the bathroom in Carrerick and human feces and urine.
Oh.
The court records showed that the man then came out of the bathroom asking employees at the store for help cleaning himself. Employees told the man they were aware of the, quote, problem with the toilet due to prior incidents. Now this man requires mental health care counseling as a direct result of the trauma experienced in the restroom.
I mean, can you imagine having to sit on the toilet? I mean, you got to do it all the time, and you have that fear that it's going to blow back on you all the time now. There's a little distress there.
Well, how much would you sue for?
I've been on that ride before, though, by the way.
I almost had it this morning.
Yeah, I will tell you. So you asked what question?
What would you sue for your trauma and mental health?
I'd sue the shit out of them. Right?
Hey!
I got a dog for you.
I mean, it's going to be a big number, right? Because you sue for a big number so that it works down to a number you really want.
I want to know how bad this is. I mean, if the toilet really exploded, I mean, you would think that it would have like blown his balls off, right?
Okay, but what if he's no physical injury, just covered with feces head to toe? I think if I'm on the jury, I think I would award him $250,000.
Well, he's seeking 50.
Well, he went too low.
I was going to say, just to be covered in shit, give the guy 10 to 25.
Again, I'd go high number, work it down to 50 if that's how you want.
I usually say not a dime, but I'd go $250,000 for that trauma.
But you are a great negotiator, right?
I'd go $250 for this one though. Dunkin' Donuts. I mean, they got the money.
They do have the money.
I mean, Forrester ordered 2 cups of coffee today. We got 4.
Wow. Nice story here. Burger King employee who went viral for never having missed a day of work in over 2 decades was able to purchase his first home thanks to a fundraising campaign. In June of 2022, Kevin Ford posted a video on TikTok in which he shared the gifts he received after 27 years of work for the fast food chain, which included movie ticket, Starbucks cup, bag of Reese's Pieces, 2 packs of Lifesavers, 2 pens, a lanyard, and 2 keychains.
I mean, that is a lottery.
Those are his bonuses?
Now,
that's probably the manager's glove compartment.
This is where it gets good. I remember one year, former employer gave us a pen.
I do remember that, and I don't think I ever wrote one thing with it.
Now,
did you ever try it to see if it was any good?
I really don't remember. After the video went viral with many criticizing the gifts, Ford's daughter launched a GoFundMe campaign, which has raised nearly $440,000 as of Tuesday afternoon. As a result of the generosity from thousands of donors, Ford was able to use a portion of the donations to buy his first home, according to TMZ.
I actually signed our LLC here with it, Brown.
Did you?
Yeah. Thought it was symbolic. Then I started handing them out like the president. I would write Jim and then hand out another one.
I remember getting that pen thinking, I don't know where the line is. But somewhere there's a line where it's more insulting for you to give me a crappy gift than you give me nothing at all.
Back to Office Christmas Party, when they pulled out, hey, we're going to give mouse pads to everybody, Jason Bateman was like, no, we're not.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to use some common sense. It's better to get nothing.
Yep. I'd rather, honest to goodness, what seems to be a direct email from the CEO of the company telling me I did a good job than you give me a pen.
Yeah, I would agree.
To me, the bottom line is a honey baked ham.
That's basement for you. Like I get a Christmas ham.
Everybody gets a honey baked ham.
Hey, we got that one year.
Oh, yeah.
Was it a turkey or a ham? I think we got a turkey.
You had a choice. Yeah,
did you?
You went there, yeah.
Turkey or ham, yeah. I thought that was an okay gift.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with that.
It says the holidays. We can have a good feast on that.
That's right.
Fine with me.
Probably
trade it out for some free spots.
I don't give a rip. I don't give a rip. I got it.
Bad story here. A man who alleges that a poorly executed penis enlargement procedure left him with a diminished manhood is pursuing legal action against his doctor.
Oh, you said enlargement. Okay.
Yeah. Now, this is a little different from the toilet explosion. Alter Turkman, a wealthy baker from Turkey, sought the services of this doctor to enhance his 4.7-inch penis.
Oh, my gosh.
We got
now,
pictures?
in legal documents, Turkman asserts that this doctor assured him of a minimum increase of 1.1 inches in length and 1.1 in girth, according to local media.
There's going to be some awkward testimony in this lawsuit.
I mean, 4.7 inches. Why does he want more?
But reports suggest that the procedure performed in January of 2022 resulted in, quote, disaster, leaving Turkman with a smaller and scarred member. Instead of the anticipated increase of up to 2 inches, Turkman claims that the operation reduced his manhood to a mere 4.3 inches. Now, doctors performed a second procedure to address the bleeding and limit the damage following the attempt of extending Turkman's manhood. Turkman claims he still endured excruciating pain as a result of the alleged botched surgery, hindering his ability to walk for a month. The case is still ongoing.
But if you got a bowling pin, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
You got a career.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
The banana.
You're a bit of a showman.
Yes.
The banana, we call that NASCAR penis. You're always turning left.
Yeah, the pin, there's going to be a lot of what, the 9-6 splits or
710, yeah.
710.
Yeah,
710 splits.
the old crayon, man. I didn't know crayon was 3 inches long.
Well, that's where our old
think
boy in the
that's-
story, he's about the crayon, right?
I think that's the bigger crayon, isn't it? Do you guys remember
yeah,
the
the big
thicker?
fat one you would use.
Yeah.
I got girth. That's girth.
Oh, finally. This is something,
multicolored.
after we did the story a couple of weeks ago, Brown said this has become a trend.
Yep.
Now we've got the second one. A man is in custody and en route to a hospital for mental health treatment after he jumped naked into a massive aquarium at the Bass Pro Shops. And this was the one here in Leeds.
No. It's not Leeds.
It's Leeds.
Yeah. No. This is a local story?
Yes, this is in Leeds.
Oh, that's the first time. I've seen this story all day. I did not know. I didn't read it. I
What
just
does
read the
his
headline.
vest say above police?
Well, it's going to need to say Birmingham or Leeds. That says Poland.
Yeah, well.
I don't think this is Leeds.
It is Leeds. It's AL.com. It is a Leeds story.
Okay.
Okay, now Police Chief Paul Irwin, familiar with him?
I've never heard of him.
Said the incident happened about closing time. 42-year-old man was reported to be acting erratically, drove a vehicle into a pole in the store parking lot. That is red flag.
Yep.
After the crash, he got out of the vehicle, took off his clothes, ran to the Bass Pro Shop, jumped into the aquarium. Video taken by bystanders showed the man do a cannonball into the aquarium and later stand under the waterfall.
That's got to feel good, though. It's probably cold water, but no, I just found it. You guys are right. This is in Leeds. That's crazy. I did not know that.
Continued to shout something to officers before he climbed over the side of the aquarium, dropped to the concrete floor below, appearing to have been knocked out by the fall.
Oh, man.
This is incredible.
That is.
Officers handcuffed the man, who then woke up and began trying to struggle. Someone covered him with a blanket as officers took him from the store. They said the man was only in the water for about 5 minutes before officers arrived. Taken to the hospital for mental evaluation.
5 minutes is a long time.
Yes, it is. That's a while to swim around in that thing.
And booked into the St. Clair County Jail.
Kevin, 1976, sending in that story as well on our social media platforms, Rocky. So that's a follow-up, right?
No, this happened last night.
No, it is a follow-up in the sense we had this same story, and I said this is going to become a trend.
It's a trend where
somewhere
people
else.
jump in.
Yeah, there was somewhere else. It was not in Leeds.
Because I was having weird deja vu because I'd even sent back to Kevin. I said, we've already done this story. I just saw a man jumps in naked into the...
Yeah, it seems like it's once every 2 weeks.
Oh, I've got video, but we cannot show it.
Yeah, he's got a, speaking of the bowling pin, we might,
Yeah,
see something.
Oh, really?
No,
Yeah.
I haven't seen the video, but I'm sure.
Oh, I've got it right here. It was
it's
just
a
sent to
crayon
me.
or a bowling pin.
Yeah. So he went by the casting rods before he jumped in?
Well, yeah, I don't want to. Well, yeah, but I don't want to get my clothes wet.
So, did you see him do the cannonball?
I did not see the cannonball. The video's aftermath. I'm seeing him have a a refreshing swim.
By the way, that's impressive. If he's out of the cold water and still is impressing you guys on video. Trash brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right.
You let the experts at Mortgage Right help get your financial house in order with locations in Birmingham on Highway 280. Mortgage Right offers a variety of loan products, fast and free pre-approvals, and reliable hands assistance that will help you take advantage of all available home buying and refinance options. With Mortgage Right, no middleman. You can trust that your files will never leave their office. You can apply online today, mortgageright.com/TNR. Call 205-815-9200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
And while we were on the road, LT picked up a couple of steaks for me on the road. It was good to eat for free, good food, good friendship, drank a little wine on the road. In New York Butcher Shop, now that we're back home, instantly it is date night for brownies, and sometimes they decide to stay home and grill.
That's what I'm doing tonight.
I'm about to be a bachelor for 2 weeks, so I'll swing by for wine and steaks at New York Butcher Shop. What about you, man? You heading by New York Butcher?
I think I am going to go see Jim today. New York Butcher Shop. Pick up the finest and certified Angus prime beef steaks, burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, all natural chicken cut to order just for you with a great selection of fine wines and desserts. New York Butcher Shop, one-stop dinner shop, 2 locations, Cahaba Heights, Highway 119 in Greystone. New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
There's only one Champy's world famous fried chicken. Poor boy's tenders, full fried chicken plates, and a little bit of the Mississippi Delta with chicken on a stick and hot tamales. On your way to or from the big game on Highway 119 in Alabaster, stop by Champy's Chicken.
What are you waiting for? It's non-stop gaming action at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Come play more than 900 of the latest and greatest games around, featuring fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can wager and win on horse and greyhound races from all over the world. There are more ways to win at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Birmingham Racecourse Casino, located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemphill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemphill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemphill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemphill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
There are so many things I love about walk-ons. Authentic, mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine, prepared fresh, daily from scratch. A great beer selection and TVs everywhere to watch the big game every day of the week. And of course, they've got 2 great locations on Highway 280 and 119 and at Hoover near the Hoover Met. Walk-ons is also a great place for happy hour, 2 to 6 Monday through Friday with $5 moonshine swirls, $5 house pours, and half-price appetizers. And it's an easy take-home experience for the family as well. Highway 280 and Hoover with walk-ons. Let's face it, a home is one of the most powerful assets you can have, and our friends at Mortgage Right want to help you build wealth through home ownership. Mortgage Right is all about providing competitive rates, a variety of loan products, and a multitude of resources for a seamless home buying experience. They treat their borrowers like family and are always looking to bring more happy homeowners under their roof. See more by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR today and start living. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali.
The Next Round store is live and loaded. Check out the latest logo t-shirts and hoodies, get your favorite team colors, the Next Round flag shirt, or grab the popular Y'all Can Have the Rest t-shirts. Go to nextround.store. That's nextround.store.
All right, final segment here on the show, being brought to you by our friends at Precision Sports. You've used these guys before, LT, haven't you?
Oh, yeah. Dr. Michael Patterson, man, the best.
Just so important to have, and I've learned this. I've never really had a problem until I had a problem, right? And I had to have somewhere to go. And luckily, our friends at Precision Sports can help you out. And 2024 is a new year, and you don't want to carry some of the pains of 2023 forward. Remember to call this number, your unbelievable medicine and orthopedic provider, Precision Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, 205-512-3885, 512-3885. And the website is precisionsportsortho.com/2024, precisionsportsortho.com/2024 for tweaks and bruises and pulled this or tweaks that. They can handle it all and get your life back on track. Orthopedic care is better together. Find your provider today. Again, call 205-512-3885, 512-3885, or visit precisionsportsortho.com/2024.
Matt Zennett's making it official with our buddy Jeff Collins now. He has accepted the defensive coordinator job at North Carolina. That went quick.
Probably, after he was by here this year, would probably mean most of his contract is not an offset. He probably keeps that Georgia Tech money and now goes back and works at North Carolina.
I would say, too, if you really want to coach. Now, Jeff had the option. I think that was a pretty good buyout. He was at peace. I think he had the option of not coaching again.
For 1 year to go into a good situation, right? Or you would say
forever. I don't think he ever had to coach again.
He even got $6 million.
Yeah, from talking to Jeff, I think that was an option on the table.
He was very happy.
But if you want to coach, there's only a certain amount of time you sit out before you get forgotten about. I think that's what those guys worry about is I take 2, 3, 4 years off just to sit on my money and make more money. A lot of times, and listen, the college football job is changing every day, Jeff. It's a different world now from even when he was in it last year.
I mean, imagine Gene Chizik, how far he was out of it.
Yeah.
And when he came back, I mean, Gene Chizik, knows football. He's a great defensive coordinator. Just didn't work out for him at North Carolina. They improved a little bit defensively, but not enough to help them out.
But what are a better chance of happening? Mac Brown retires next year and Jeff Collins is out of a job again, or Jeff Collins does an incredible job and gets another offer. I just think it's a weird situation going to coach under a 73-year-old coach.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. But good for Jeff Collins. He's back in the game. He's in a pretty good spot there, and hopefully it leads to more and better for him. We love Jeff. He's family to us.
Great dude.
Yeah, great guy. He's been in this studio, been on this show, wears our gear. He texted me a photo the other day of him wearing our hat out with his kid. So very happy. I texted him and said, we'll try to find one in Carolina blue for you now, a next round hat.
All right. So in this final segment, I want you guys to pull up your standings this year, college football standings, and we're particularly going to look at teams with a losing record.
Okay.
Teams with a losing record, because we've got a weird situation happening. This playoff this year, by the way, 3 of the 4 teams that were in the playoffs this year had a losing record within the last 3 years. I'll say that again. 3 of the 4 teams in this playoff had a losing record within the last 3 years.
Well, the Michigan's a little misleading because 2020.
Yeah, but it's a fact.
Yeah.
It's a losing record. And then where Washington and Texas has come from is well documented. Alabama's the only outlier in that. So I'm going to say anyone with a losing record, give me a list of teams that you think you could see playing for the national championship like Washington and Michigan are Monday night.
So they got to be in the championship game. This can't just be make a playoff.
Not just making a playoff. Losing record.
Good luck.
They could be there. I mean, Auburn falls into this category, right? They ended up with a sub-500 record. Is that correct after the loss?
They did.
6-7. So Auburn could be on this list.
Boy,
this is done away.
Florida could be on this list.
They could be,
right?
Yeah. I mean, your SEC schools would probably be limited to Florida and Auburn because A&M ended up with a winning record. Your only losing records in the conference were Florida, Auburn, State, Arkansas, South Carolina, and Vandy. So you pick out of that group. I think you would only go Florida and Auburn.
And I guess TCU, because we saw it last year, is coming off of 5-7.
We don't think it happened, but
No.
TCU would put it in the conversation.
But that's
we're taking flyers here. I would take a flyer because I think the guy can coach on Nebraska, but boy, it is a uphill climb.
Yeah, I was going to say the Big Ten. I would take a flyer on Michigan State with Jonathan Smith, just because they have a ton of money.
Yeah.
I think he's a hell of a coach.
I think Nebraska has figured out their NIL. I think you look at the Dylan Raiola move and know that, right? That Nebraska's got theirs in line,
I mean,
too.
the problem for both Nebraska and Michigan State is the Big Ten's gotten more difficult. Now there's more spots for a 12-team playoff.
You're going to get 3, sometimes 4 teams out of the Big Ten. I mean, it's going to be a rare year probably when you get 4, but there's a chance you could get 4 out of there. And the good news is, the bad news is, if you're Nebraska and Michigan State, it's gotten more difficult now for you to make the conference champion. Actually, for Nebraska, it hasn't gotten any more difficult for Michigan State. But it's gotten more difficult for Nebraska to make the conference championship game, Lance. But also, just that one loss that might knock them out of the conference championship game would not knock them out of playoff contention.
Well, I know Matt Rule can coach, but boy, they seem so far away.
Uphill climb. I am not going to argue with you on that one.
But pretty crazy where Washington, Michigan, and Texas has come from to get into the playoffs this year. Specifically, this Washington program, though.
They had to.
I thought 2 years ago we were sitting here and I was like, I think Washington could go 11-1 and possibly get into a college football playoff. That was Jimmy Lake's second and final season. But since Jimmy Lake, Kalen DeBoer has completely changed the culture there.
Yeah, I mean, Washington and Texas had to change coaches to do it. Michigan didn't have to change coaches, but it seemed like it got kind of close there. I mean, Michigan was patient with Harbaugh. They cut him, he cut his salary or agreed to cut his salary to appease the masses, but they were patient with Harbaugh, and it paid off.
He never had a bad year, though. I agree. I think the patience ended up paying off. But outside of that weird 2020 year, Harbaugh always had good years, not great years.
It wasn't bad years, but he was getting dominated by Ohio State. I mean, that was his problem, was he couldn't get over the Ohio State hump, which therefore you couldn't get over the Big Ten championship hump, which therefore you couldn't get over the college playoff hump.
Back to Michigan State. By the way, I think this would be fact. Mel Tucker in that one really good 2021 season where he got the ridiculous extension, they would have been in a 12-team playoff. They were 11-2.
Yeah, I mean, I have to go look at the final standings, but there's a good chance, or final rankings. There's a good chance they would be, though.
Yeah. Great job by Kalen DeBoer in Washington. And with what Michigan has coming back next year, Washington loses a lot too. Ohio State's going to be in a pretty good place. A lot of pressure on Penn State to be good again. USC's coming in there. You just wonder where Washington's going to fit into the Big Ten. They could still be up near 1 or 2 in the Big Ten.
I feel like I know where Texas and Oklahoma are going to fit in the SEC better than I can grasp where specifically Washington and Oregon are going to fit in the Big Ten. I feel like I kind of know where USC is going to fall in,
Until they get things turned around a little bit more.
Who?
USC.
Yeah, but USC could turn it around next week or next year.
No, I'm just talking like long-term futures. I feel like USC long-term will be a contender for conference championships there.
Right.
Well, I think Texas will too.
That's what I'm saying. I know that about Texas and Oklahoma. I kind of get a grasp on them. It's hard for me to envision where Washington and Oregon long-term. I think UCLA will still be what they are, as a middle-of-the-pack team. Washington and Oregon, I don't really know how they fit into that. I mean, and I don't mean that negatively. Heck, either one of those teams could win the Big Ten next year. It'd be hard for Washington. They're losing a lot.
Would you take Ohio State, Michigan, or the field?
In the Big Ten?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, everybody tells me Michigan's falling off.
Yeah, I'd still take Ohio State, Michigan.
Would you?
Mm-hmm.
I might take the field next year.
I may take the field next year.
Oregon, if Washington can figure it out, if USC catches lightning in a bottle.
Yep.
I mean, If Michigan's dropping off that bad,
I need to see Dan Lanning. As much as I like him, and I think he's got a ton of upside. Got to see him win a big game.
I don't disagree with you at all, and he has shown us evidence in the big moments that he is maybe not the best Saturday coach out there. He does a really good job recruiting and does well in a lot of what you want him to, but he has shown us some signs of Mario Cristobal there. You trust in DeBoer though?
Oh yeah.
Final hour has been brought to you by our friends at Champions Highway 119 in Alabaster and by our friends at Bud Light. Easy to drink and easy to enjoy. Things on the sheet that are non-sports related for you. Dating Sunday, Rockstar. This is called Dating Sunday. This Sunday is the first Sunday after New Year's. And you get this sense that you've been around family the holidays and you realize you don't have a date anymore, nobody to kiss on. All the dating apps go up 23% this Sunday.
What's also New Year's resolutions? I'm gonna settle down now. I finally got to get a girlfriend or boyfriend. This is it.
Yeah, quit bouncing girl to girl.
I'm getting fit this year. This is my year.
Fruit Stripe gum.
I used to love it.
It's so good, but the flavors, it's within a minute.
Yeah, burned quick, man.
Has been discontinued.
Oh, seriously?
No, let's go. I'll go get a pack.
I think
I don't
Tyler,
know.
somebody brought it up this morning. I was like, we say that, but when is the last time you had a stick of Fruit
No,
Stripe?
I never have.
It's been forever. It lasts about 15 seconds.
It does.
I made a point that Santa Claus would always put a thing of fruit slice in the kids' stockings. Just because to me, for that first 30 seconds, it was the best flavored gum out there.
It really was. And had a very unique zebra. It had a lot of colors on it.
Yep. Fruit Stripe gum discontinued. It's now.
I hope you end on some good news.
Big packets going for $200. Not just one packet, but a box of gum going for $200 on eBay.
Okay, well, I've changed my mind. Let's talk about
Sam's Club version where you just get the gas station box.
Yes.
And you think people are raiding a shell right now?
Yeah, it's like torches and
2024 right now, Rockstar. We are over 1% already done with the year. Since I did during college football, I figured I'd do it during.
I'm
the
okay
year.
with you doing it now. Lead us up to college football. Tell it it's 1%.
1% has flown by.
Will you over the weekend? Will you do the math on?
I started always Tuesday after the college.
No. That's not what I'm going to ask you. Do the math on how many days between now and college football, and give us the percentage. Like, guys, we're 15% the way through the non-college football season.
I just like giving you the days.
I'd rather percentages.
Yeah. Well, you can do that if you'd like. I do. For years, I've done the days, and I start the day after the national championship.
I want you to do it, though. I don't think you heard me. You haven't heard me a lot today. You've struggled to hear me a lot today. I want you to do it.
I hear you.
Minutes are better. Like we're 14,000 minutes away.
I want
from next-
percentages.
Yeah, I'm not going to give you percentages because I don't do percentages. I still failed that on the SATs.
Speaking of minutes, the kid, and y'all might have talked about this yesterday, that tried for the hole-in-one.
That was such an awesome idea by Barstool.
It was incredible.
To do that as long as he did it.
Yeah, I
And-
mean, how long do you think it would take you?
It took
I know
35
it's-
hours, right?
Obviously, yeah.
And
Lot-
it was
lot of luck.
it was number 7 at Pebble Beach, so he's probably only hitting a wedge. I
Yep.
mean, it's a very short hole.
But he looked like, and from the clips you saw, it was obviously going to be really tight shots. He looked like he knew what he was doing.
I think I could do it in fewer shots than he did, but I don't know that. I mean, you could hit 50 that are within a foot of the hole, and you're amazing, but none of those went in.
Yeah, I wish that would have been our idea.
They had one that rolled and stopped 6 inches short. It looked like it was going to roll in. He was taking breaks, obviously, but I think it was 2,600 something strokes.
The reaction was incredible. You had PGA Tour pros yesterday reacting to it because they're back. They're in Hawaii for the season opener there.
Yep.
And the reaction was pretty wild.
Yep. And that primetime golf continues tonight. Jokic with a big virtual half quarter to win it last night. Good basketball tonight. Number 9 Illinois on the road at number 1 Purdue. Fun game tonight. By the way, lanceslock.com 14-3.
Yeah, 14-3 to start the new year.
14-3 in the first 1%.
Look at all the green checks. Look at all the green checks at Lanceslock.com.
I like it.
Lanceslock.com 14-3. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America. We'll see you Monday at 9 a.m. Central.